Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to The Crossover. Starring Josh Johnson and Chris McGill. Featuring Christina Thorson. And of course, you, the Instagram live chat. Now, sit back and enjoy this week's edition of The Crossover. Powered by Card Ladder.
How are we doing?
Great.
Oh, Christina. Oh, Christina just came down here with a little goodies. Show the people what you made yourself.
I made myself a sundae.
Oh, Josh has got the goodies. Isn't it a great time to be alive? Isn't it a great time to be in the hobby? We have playoff basketball officially starting tomorrow. And I suppose congratulations to teams that won the play-in game, although I'm not really handing out a lot of flowers for that. All you Trae Young guys, I am coming at you, by the way. But before we get there, how's it going, Josh, as a couple more people fill in?
I forgot how to request to be into the live. I forgot how to set my phone out. I don't know how to work computers anymore. It's been 2 weeks, and it feels like a lot longer.
Dude, it does, man. It definitely took a little bit of thinking. It wasn't just automatic. We've only missed 1 week, right? We only missed one episode.
Doesn't it feel like it's more, though? It feels really weird.
Yeah, it does feel really weird. Okay, so let's get going here because there's a boatload of questions, and there's so much good content to get through tonight. There's going to be rants, and there's going to be spice, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So welcome, everybody, to the crossover. Today is Friday, April 15th. And first of all, do we have any announcements, Card Ladder related, that we'd like to get out of the way?
Yes, let me do a demo. All right, so add to collection. Got some new power this week and last week. So there's 2 new options when you're adding to your collection. There is CSV, which is, spreadsheet Excel. I'm not going to demo that one because it's not my favorite thing, and it took me like a year to build it because I didn't want to build it, and now I don't want to demo it. So that's the perks of being in charge of the product. The other one is PSA. So this is one of the things where we get to flex our muscle with the acquisition, where we can integrate with PSA and make things better. So if you punch in the PSA cert, it does all the work for you. It pulls the image. I'll demo it. So we punch in the cert. It is pulling from PSA's database. It's actually going to get the card. It's looking at the details. Look at that, super fast. So it actually gets the image that PSA scanned. So you don't have to scan your own image. They'll do it for you. It'll pull in the category, the year, the set, and the way that they name stuff is a little bit different than the way we do it. So I actually map it over to our way for you, and it's pretty seamless. And then also, if that card is in the ladder, that works as well, because we store all of the PSA certs in our database to generate pop reports and reference what card it is. So if you punch in a cert of a card that we have in the ladder, we'll actually pull the ladder card and get you all the estimated value stuff for you, fill out all the details, give you the image. It does all that magically. And then as of today, I just did a release for Apple. On the phone, it's the same thing, except you can actually scan the back of the card's QR code, and it will autofill the cert for you and do everything. So that'll save you a bunch of time. That's it. You want to do the YouTube video? Talk about the biggest video.
Yeah, well, first of all, amazing product updates, just great work. We just love building our products, guys, and we love running a business in the hobby. It's an amazing privilege to be able to do so. And we appreciate everybody who supports and patronizes Card Ladder, whether as a paid user or as somebody who just uses the free features as well. So, all right, let's talk about the Mint Collective video. And by the way, I've seen a couple people giving Stiff Arm Wax a lot of credit, obviously, as the person who edited, filmed, storyboarded, directed, put that entire video together. He's not bad at what he does, right? He's decent. So let me just show you guys how you can go see this video. It's called A Sports Card Event Like No Other, the Mint Collective, presented by eBay. And then here's the thumbnail for it. You can find it just really, if you just search Card Ladder on YouTube, you can find it. And then it's a 16-minute video that just makes our hobby look great. It documents the Mint Collective experience. Really, really good stuff. And if you guys, I saw a couple people asking if Stiff is going to make an appearance. Stiff does has mail days, but he's shy. He's not sure if he wants to come on the show. If you guys just at Stiff Arm Wax, just put a bunch of at Stiff Arm Waxes. If you want to hear from Stiff Arm Wax, put at Stiff Arm Wax in the comments. Maybe he'll see the notifications and he'll come over and he'll jump in the live because he was thinking about it, but then he got a little nervous and he's watching the basketball game. But maybe we'll be able to get him on. So anything else you want to add about the Mint Collective video that Card Ladder put out?
My wife and I got a couple drinks and watched it together. It was just it was so good. It was like watching a movie. It was like watching a documentary, and we were just thinking man, this needs to be the guy who creates the Netflix documentary for the hobby, because it just felt so professional. The B-roll was incredible, and just the story was good. I liked how he sort of narrated the story through our three-way interview. I thought that made it really interesting. I didn't know he was going to do that. That was fantastic. And he sprinkled in the jokes. It was just really good.
Yeah, it was awesome. So, okay, let's keep it rolling here. Mail days. It looks like you had several. I'm pretty sure I only have one. So I'll just do mine really quick first, and then you can go second. All right, so here's mine. This is the 2013 Spectra called the Black Atomic. But it's just the black 1/1 Le'Veon Bell rookie. Thank you to That's the Old Price for selling me this. 1/1 Le'Veon Bell rookie from a sweet brand. Oh, no.
It can't be me.
There. Okay. What do you got, Josh? What's on your mail day list menu?
Well, I have a bonus mail day, but I don't know if you're going to let me show that one.
Oh, yeah, show it. I need the people to see what's happening in real time.
Are you sure?
Oh, yeah.
I'm happy to hold off.
You show it, and I'll show its brothers.
Okay. All right. Let me get this situated. This is one part I didn't forget how to do it.
Josh, you just forgot how to do everything, didn't you?
No, I said this is one thing I did not forget how to do. All right, here we go. 2018 Prism Gold Nikola Jokic. Is this the one you wanted?
Yeah, now I have 4 of the 6. I have 4 of the 6 Jokic Prism Golds.
Was this your first PSA 10?
Yes, it is.
All right. Well, good luck getting this out of my hands. I wish you the best in that. I don't know how you're going to do it, but we'll find out. Maybe there'll be a surprise of how you get this from me.
I will come to Phoenix and take it from you directly if I have to.
Oh, good. Good. Hopefully I don't hide it. All right. So I already showed this one.
Don't put any of those scorpions, all right? Because then I might never get it.
I don't think you know what a scorpion is. I'm learning.
It doesn't sound fun. That's what
I don't think their body weight can withstand a card. It'll slap. They're just get crushed. All right. I showed this one yesterday, but worth showing again, I think, for the crossover folks. PSA 10. I had a 9. The 10's a pop 2, so I thought, why not? Bought it. I already sold the 9. So, all right. And I was going to do these on my live, but I saved them for tonight.
Nice.
Because why not? Coming back with a bang. First one, I don't know which is which. I know what the 2 cards they are, but I don't know which is which. I already unpacked most of it because you know how it goes with these guys who pack so much stuff. And I didn't want to waste time on crossover because I know we got a lot. I did not buy a Panini card. Don't worry, guys. That was for Chris. All right.
That's for me. Don't get it twisted.
First one. Take out the slab, get it extra shiny.
Ooh.
2005 Bowman Chrome Gold LeBron PSA 9. Dude, I'm all about the PSA 9s right now. I'll just take them all. I don't care. You can just give me all your 9s.
Amazing.
And this one, actually, the gold is on the surface. You know how I am about those ones that aren't. So that one's on the surface. And that comes from the good folks at PC Sports Cards. Thanks to Josh for that one. And then one more. And this one is not a raw card. Don't be deceived. Just the packaging. not a raw card. So I already did the mail day of this card 2 weeks ago, but I got another one. So I got 2 now.
Wow.
2007 Finest Gold PSA 9. And these are out of 25.
Amazing.
These are a little bit more rare than most of the older ones, you know. I've owned this card 5 times now. 5 separate copies.
Just keeps coming back.
Again, a 9. I'll just scoop them up. Don't care. I'll buy them.
Awesome.
All right, that's it.
All right, that's it, huh? That's just those. That's all.
We got 2 more from a PSA mail day next week.
All right. Amazing stuff. Okay, well, let's get to the good stuff here, the content, what the people have been waiting for. Before we do that, like, we had an unusual amount of card ladder cards. I just want to questions. I just want to fly through these really quick, get these answered for the public. This is our forum for answering those questions. We're going to fly through these really quick, and we have so much good content for you guys. It's more general. So on card ladder questions, Big J on Collector's Cards says, how does card ladder determine the value of cards that are sold in lots, meaning multiple item lots? We do not track those precisely because we cannot. It would require us to make a subjective determination of, oh, this was worth this much in the lot, that was worth that much. So we just don't deal with that. B&B Sports Collector says, are card ladder prices before or after the buyer's premium? They are after the buyer's premium. They are inclusive of the buyer's premium because card ladder is focused on the collector's perspective. Card ladder is interested in knowing what price the collector paid. And then you might wonder, well, do you include taxes? And no, we don't, because taxes are state by state and can vary, and we don't know that information. Okay, Super Collecting said, will tobacco cards, especially T206, ever make it onto card ladder? The answer is yes, they will. Yes, they will. Hopefully soon. Linguist Sports Cards says, is there any chance card ladder will start tracking COMC? Check out my cards. COMC sales. He says, I'm not sure how realistic that would be, but including COMC might be a way to bring more legitimacy to low and mid-end cards. And he goes on to basically say he's purchased a lot of cards in that range, and he'd love to see those sales show up on card ladder.
So have I. I've purchased a lot of cards from COMC, especially building Maxi Clevo Rainbows. That's funny you should ask. Do you have a bug on my email? Like, are people hacking my email? Because I have a meeting set up next week to discuss this with COMC.
There you go. So we'll be talking to COMC next week.
That's news to me. Let's go.
Yeah, the new, and breaking news here.
Oh, breaking news to Josh.
All right, Kings Angels 22 says, the card ladder team is killing it. I've been slacking, adding my cards for a while because most are not tracked. But I started adding them via sold sales or via the PSA cert number. So this guy's already using the new
Yes, let's go.
Power users. And he says it was so smooth and so easy, so many great features. Thank you for everyone's hard work. All right, that'll do it for the card ladder questions. Now let's get to the fun questions. Card Cowboy Cap says, who else is doing their taxes right now? Who else? Who else is doing their taxes right now? What do you say, Josh? Are you doing your taxes right now?
Oh, I'm the person who does them like as soon as humanly possible. I like to get it out of the way. I know that, like, especially for us having a business, you basically have to wait for all the K1s to come through and all the 1099s and stuff. So like you can't. But if I could, I would do it right away. But I did it as early as I could.
Right on. Yeah, Josh does not procrastinate, my friends. He has the opposite. It's actually a problem. You know, like, for some people, procrastination is a problem. He has the problem, but the exact opposite. He is unable to not do something that he's responsible for doing immediately.
The same as the messages, the DMs. Like I physically can't let them go.
So, all right, Christine and I had our taxes professionally done, which is always worth it. Just like Sports Your Card says, worth every penny my CPA gets. Yes, it is. We had our taxes professionally done, not this week, but the week before. And so they are done, and they're always miserable. And I don't know what else to say about that. There is, as Beantown Joe points out, you know, you can always file for an extension if you're feeling nervous or you're not sure that you're doing it right. Obviously, you don't want to be in that position, but the option does exist. But yeah, guys, taxes, I'm sure card, cowboy cap, you're not alone. Plenty of people will be doing their taxes this weekend. Do them right, and best of luck. All right, NBA playoff questions. Shifo's Cards, shout out to Sharif, says, what playoff first-round series has the best chance at an upset outside of the 4-5s in each conference? So let's start with the East. And by the way, isn't this amazing? The NBA playoffs start tomorrow at noon Central Time. They start at 10 a.m. for you, so you just get to wake up and watch them. I have to wake up and wait longer. It's such a great time.
You're acting like you're up before noon. That's hilarious.
Okay, all right. Eastern Conference, what is the best chance at an upset?
Is the Nets an upset? Is that even an upset?
Well, it's an upset from the 2v7 because Brooklyn is a 2. And
Well, I mean, from Vegas.
from Vegas, it would be a slight upset. Boston is a slight favorite.
Boston's playing really, really well, so I feel like it's a bit offensive to call that, to not call it an upset. So, I mean, that one's the obvious one, I think, from the East, right?
Mm-hmm. I think so. What about the Atlanta Hawks over the Miami Heat?
Let's go to the West. No way. No, I mean, maybe. I think Trey could probably take a game or two.
Yeah.
I don't think the Heat are invincible.
The only other series that's not 4-5 is Milwaukee versus Chicago. Do you even think Chicago gets a game?
I think that's a sweep, dude. That one team's going one way, the other team's going the other.
All right, let's go to the West. We don't know who the 8 seed is going to be yet. That game's ongoing in the background. But do you see any upsets? So basically, do you foresee Minnesota being able to upset Memphis? And or do you foresee Denver being able to upset Golden State?
Oh, the Clippers are, pulling away. They were down, 15. I actually think – I just, straight up think that the Nuggets are going to beat the Warriors. I don't really even want to call it an upset. I just, I feel like it's a pretty close series anyways. I'm just picking the Nuggets. And then I think the Wolves could beat the Grizzlies, but probably, not likely. The Grizzlies are a much deeper, better team.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Good. All right. Let's go here. The Bouvier.
You agree? Do you have any upset picks?
I'm too close to some of them. Like the Nuggets Warriors, I'm way too close to that series. I've got such a rooting interest in the Joker that I just can't call it. The Warriors are huge favorites to win that series. So, I don't think the Wolves can do it against Memphis, but I think they can make it spicy. I think they can make it really spicy. And look, Patrick Beverly has been an excellent defender on Ja Morant. And so, they're like...
Well, the Grizzlies are better without him, so if Pat Bev takes him out, they have a better chance of winning.
That's right. So as long as Memphis has Ja Morant, I'm giving the Wolves a chance.
I think it just comes down to is Towns going to play much better than he played in that playing game? Is he gonna rise to be this next level superstar? I saw someone being like, Towns is still young. He's still got the guy's in his 7th year, I think now, 6th year. He's 27 years old. I think this is it for him. This is the chance.
Yeah, he's from the same draft class as Porzingis and Devin Booker.
Yeah, it's time.
All right. The Bouvier says, let's talk about playoff basketball. What players and which cards will you be watching? Players and or cards that you'll be keeping an eye on?
Well, Chris Paul and the Suns, LeBron's out of the playoffs, so I can just put all my attention on Chris Paul. But let me why don't you name somebody while I think of someone I don't collect?
Oh my God, there's so many. Well, let's not get too nuanced here. Let's just say the big ones that really are obvious but still deserve to be mentioned. Giannis is somebody who I will be watching religiously, and Giannis is somebody whose cards have done very well this season, and if he can make another charge and win another finals, solidifies himself as a top 15 all-time player. So Giannis and Giannis's cards, I will be watching very closely. Who do you have?
I got a couple more. One is Stephen Curry. I kind of think his stuff is just way overheated over the last year. He's way ridiculously exceeded the basketball index. He's just blown it away. His stuff is going bananas. And I think people aren't realizing that he's definitely on like the downturn. So I'm kind of interested to see how he responds, like back in the spotlight, having missed the playoffs for 2 years in a row, like coming back with the Warriors. He's coming off the injury. I think there's a lot of interesting storylines to Curry. The other one is Devin Booker. Because he made a finals run kind of unexpectedly, I think people want to see if Devin Booker going to be able to take that next step as far as like being the best player in the Suns, and will his cards kind of follow? Those are two interesting games for me.
Yeah, on the Devin Booker theme, Crypto Collects also wanted us to discuss the Devin Booker market, and so let's just very briefly do that. So look, this is hilarious, right? This is the Devin Booker market. This is his card ladder index. He has 50. He only has 54 cards. We should get some more coverage of Devin Booker here. But so here's his index over the last year. This is his index just taking a huge jump during the NBA Finals last year. and then immediately just cooling off. Just the shark fin was in full effect. And then his market, surprisingly, is down over the course of this year, despite the fact that he's now very likely going to finish in the top 5 in MVP voting and is going to be first team All-NBA. He's taken his career to another level. He is definitely a player worth watching, both card-wise and sport-wise. But few are aware that some of his cards have escalated in price this season, such as his National Treasures RPA, a BGS 9 Auto 10 recently sold for $54,000 with Golden, which is a healthy price. What do you think about that price for a Devin Booker BGS 9 NTRPA? That puts him comfortably ahead of LaMelo Ball and Anthony Edwards pricing on NTRPAs, but he's behind Ja Morant, he's behind Luka, and that would put him ahead of Trae Young as well, whose BGS 9s would not be in that area.
Yeah, I mean, based on all those other names you just said, I think it makes sense. I mean, it's kind of neat to see so much emphasis being put on like the NTRPAs and like the gold prisms over the last year. We've been saying that for several years, that like if you're going to invest in those guys, just get the NTRPAs and the gold prisms, and that definitely happened. And like his market overall is flat, but you pointed out that like the stuff that sort of matters or whatever is exceeding that.
Definitely, and like those are the cards that I would be looking at for these players, although they might not even sell during the playoffs, which makes it tough. But like the NTRPAs and the Prism Golds, those anytime those cards pop up of a player, even of semi-hobby relevance, I'm always watching, especially if it's a playoff player. Have you sensed a lot of energy for players who did well in the play-in? Trae Young, Anthony Edwards, these guys have had really good play-in performances. And I actually feel a lot of energy coming out of these playing games. Maybe it's just the nature of the playing game, the one and done. But or are we like on the verge of a lot of NBA energy suddenly returning?
Well, we're definitely on the verge of NBA energy. I think the one of the things I thought of about the play-in is that we haven't seen these teams play like all year. I think that was like the first Wolves game on national TV in a few months. So like there's one reason we literally haven't seen them play. We haven't seen the Hawks much this year. We haven't seen the Wolves. And the play-in tournament kind of has this like one-and-done feel, like you said, and it kind of feels like, these teams probably don't have a great shot outside the play-in tournament, so this is kind of the moment to enjoy it.
Right on. Yeah. All right, any other players that we want to highlight that are top of mind that we'll be watching in these playoffs, or players or cards?
I mean, I want to see all the best players in every team. Like you said, I want to see Ja Morant. I want to see Joel Embiid, because Joel Embiid's kind of struggled in the playoffs, to be quite honest. So I'm interested to see him. Siakam, he's like come on really strong at the end of the year. He's probably going to make an All-NBA team. Levine, DeRozan, I just want to see games, What's the first game? What's the game tomorrow morning? Is it the Raptors?
The first game is Dallas, Utah.
So Luke, okay, are we going to skip over that, or what's the latest?
Okay, we'll go to Luke in 1 second. Staying with the East, Embiid is a great call out, and so is Siakam. And how about Jayson Tatum? Jayson Tatum had his National Treasures Gold RPA BGS 9.5 Auto 10, which is a Pop 3. Let me just show the card, because we do have the video medium here. It's a beautiful card. All right, this card just sold with Golden over last weekend. It sold for $192,000. And look, Tatum's index is creeping up, so the card letter value estimate is actually going up. But sold for $192,000. That's the highest Jayson Tatum sale on record. Are you watching Tatum and his cards?
Yeah, Yeah, I mean, I haven't watched the Celtics a lot this year either, so there's another player. And it's also, Tatum's been in these playoff series for so many years now. I feel like he's an older vet, but he's still super young, so there's still lots of narrative left to be written for Tatum.
Yes, there certainly is. Tatum's already made 2 Eastern Conference Finals, and Boston is quietly one of the teams favored to come out of the East. Although their path will be tough, but Boston made that decision to go ahead and win last Sunday when Milwaukee intentionally lost. That means that Boston has to face Brooklyn in the first round, but it also means that when they play Milwaukee in the 2-3 in the second round, assuming they get past Brooklyn, home court.
You know what is another take on that? You got to beat the Nets regardless. If the Nets are going to be good in the playoffs and they're going to be healthy and ready to go, you got to beat them. I would rather get them first. I'd rather play them right away while they're still getting Kyrie back in the swing. So, I think now's probably the best chance to take the Nets out anyways.
I agree with that take because you don't want them to get their chemistry right through the first series, and then you have to see them in the second round.
So let's say the Celtics tanked that one and they won their series, and then the Nets took out the Bucks. Now you'd have to play the Nets coming up of beating the defending champs and having a ton of momentum. I'm not sure you want that.
Yeah, that's a great point. I'll be keeping a keen eye on guys who are not hobby darlings, but who would have an interesting market, Matt Stafford with football last year. So I'll be keeping an eye on Jimmy Butler and James Harden, as those two guys have interesting storylines to unfold but for them it's championship or bust. No one's going to pat them on the back if they make it to a conference finals. Butler's already been to an NBA finals. Harden's already been to a Western Conference finals. For those guys, it's championship or bust, but I'll be watching those guys too. And just for context, on Embiid, dude, Embiid's NTRPA BGS 95 Auto 10, 2-color patch, but a good-looking one, sold for $10,000 last weekend with Golden. $10,000 for a Joel Embiid BGS 95 Auto 10 NTRPA. That seems pretty cheap.
Pretty cheap. You said Booker's BGS 9 sold for 54?
That's right. So here.
Isn't it second in MVP voting?
Yeah. Well, second or third.
There's some cards. Aren't there some cards out there, Chris, where you're $10,000? Fuck it, I want one. It's a 9.5 RPA of one of the best. I don't give a crap. I'll just buy one. Who cares?
Look at this, man.
Isn't that a card that you know what I mean? Isn't that one of them?
Dude, true RPA 99 Embiid. And by the way, Embiid Prism for that year is so annoying because there's the gold and the gold pulsar, and then there's the photo variation gold and the photo variation gold pulsar. The NTRPA is just the true way. I wish the autograph was right here, not up there. Obviously, but it's a good-looking card. It sold for $10,200.
Wow!
All right.
That seems like I spent $10,000 on one of these LeBrons. It's a Joel Embiid 9.5 RPA. It's just is kind of a neat thing to have.
One of his best cards. One of his absolute best cards. Okay, and then Luka. Let's talk Luka. Luka was listed as doubtful for tomorrow in the game against the Jazz.
Pelicans are coming back? Sorry.
They are coming back. Okay. Damn, that game goes back and forth. And the Clippers are doing this without Paul George and without Kawhi Leonard.
Yes.
So, wow. All right. Luka's listed as doubtful for tomorrow, but that means he still could play, but it seems like he suffered a grade 1 or a grade 2 calf strain, which means he'll be out from somewhere between 7 to 21 days. And obviously the difference between 7 and 21 is enormous. So we're just going to have to watch what happens. Dallas has zero incentive to tell anybody what's happening. They do not want to make it easier for the Jazz to prepare for them. So I wouldn't trust anything that you hear from the media one way or the other. It's very possible that Dallas is leaking one thing to some sources, leaking something else to other sources, just to keep the Jazz off their trail. But I think Dallas could win one of the first 3 games without Luka. That's what I think. I think Dallas could do that, and then maybe he comes back for games 4 through 7 and makes it a series. So that's just something we have to play by ear. But whether or not Luka plays, here's just a couple of factoids about your boy Luka Doncic. He's about to make his third All-NBA first-team appearance straight. First team, third straight. In the year 2022, the Dallas Mavericks had the second best record in all of the NBA at 36-12. The only team that was better was Phoenix at 37-10. The Mavericks, with Luka in the post-Porzingis era, are one of the three best teams in the NBA, bar none. So if it doesn't happen this year, they're going to be even better next year. So don't risk injury. Don't do anything crazy. Let Luka cook long-term wise. That's it. Luka rant over. And, yeah, playoffs start tomorrow. All right, anything else we want to touch on with the playoffs? Yeah, go ahead.
I want the Mavs to win so that I can start hammering you with the argument of how the Mavs are better without him, he's overrated, et cetera, et cetera.
I would take it. That's what I tell you. It's worth it.
It's worth it. It's almost a lose-lose. If they lose, well, then they lose. And if they win, I'm just going to hammer you with they're better without Luka.
I don't care. Bring it on. It's worth it. The Jazz are tough, man. The Jazz were the number one seed in the NBA during the first 2 months of the season. They're a good team, but they've fallen apart lately. They're 500 over the last 24 games. They're 3-9 on the road in their last 12 road games. The Mavericks should be able to steal one of these two home games even without Luka. That's what I say. All right. Here's one last thing, right? So Echo Sports Card said, how will the start of the NBA playoffs impact the hobby? Who has the most to gain or lose? We've talked about the players who are active, but you know where the real gold mine is, Josh? What do you say? Where's the real gold mine right now?
Moses Malone. That ship has sailed. No, this is the time when I really focus. We're just strictly talking about like cards that I'm collecting and players that I buy. This is like right now is when I'm going to be going after LeBron. This is when I'd be looking at Michael Jordan. The focus is going to be on, the players in the playoffs. So you could really start to do your research right now and figure out who's not playing, where's the attention not at, and start like trying to find the good cards of those players. You did a little story thing on Hakeem Olajuwon as an example. You could pick guys like that all day long, I think. Study their history, figure out their statistical rankings, their top 75 rankings, and start really dissecting where the value might lie and what specific cards you should be going after and doing the research on that, finding collectors on Instagram that collect that player. Dude, there's like that kind of thing will always be there. That sort of like waiting research of players like that will always be there. But this is a good time to dive into it.
Exactly, man. All eyes are elsewhere. All energy is elsewhere. You will not hear this point of view anywhere else but on the crossover, especially given the deteriorating condition of hobby contents these days. But we are the voices in the wilderness. It's not the most exciting. It's actually boring. But right now is an exceptional time to look in categories of the hobby and focus on players and cards that are not part of the hottest topic at the moment, and not even just basketball, even though obviously looking at the all-time greats in basketball, this is a great time to do it if you're really feeling that basketball bug. But football too. Football is completely off everybody's radar. Cooper Kupp, for example, is a guy whose prices I'm tracking this offseason in particular, and they're tanking. A Cooper Kupp National Treasures RPA PSA 9 sold for $480. All right, Cooper Kupp is going to be just as good this year as he was last year. He's going to be the fantasy god, assuming injury doesn't happen. There are bargains to be had in the football offseason.
Agreed.
Okay, so there. You won't hear that anywhere else. That's why you tune into the crossover. All right, let's move on to the rest of the questions here. If you have nothing else about the NBA playoffs that you want to get off your chest at this time.
I was waiting for you to say, all right, let's move on to pumping retail products, wax, and prospects. And tennis cards or something. I don't know. What's the next one?
All right. Well, this comes from Ephus Pitch. Ephus Pitch. What is the role of the collector in the modern hobby?
The role of the modern collector.
Well, the collector. What's just the collector? You don't have to be modern, which is the collector in today's hobby? What is that person's role?
I think their role is the same as always, collecting cards, buying what they like, buying their favorite players, going after cards, going after sets, parallels. I think it's even more important that they do that because that means they're ignoring the advice of influencers. So triple down on what you've always done. Keep collecting.
Yeah, let me just take that baton and run with it a little bit further. Dude, the role of the collector is being the backbone of this hobby and keeping this thing afloat. The role of the collector is tuning out the noise and the nonsense and the garbage that's on social media coming from influencers and hobby content creators, and just focusing on the fundamentals of building a great collection and continuing to foster and nourish friendships and networks within this hobby, continuing to curate great collections, even though it's a paradox, right? Because so much content is spotlighting the latest hot topic, or this famous person is collecting cards now, woohoo, and nobody cares about the actual collectors who love collecting and who know what they're doing and who have been doing it for a long time. But that makes it all the more important that these collectors stay true to their passions, they stay true to the hobby. Collectors are the backbone of this hobby. They are everything to this hobby. Without them, nothing else exists. So the role of the modern collector is to be the unsung hero, and especially when everybody else is getting rewarded but you, when all the hobby content is focused on the next hottest thing, the real collector is the unsung hero, but without them, we have nothing here. So the role of the collector is to keep on collecting, tune out all this noise, and, keep this hobby afloat.
My favorite part of that was when you did the, the new celebrity, woohoo!
Dude,
it is really annoying, dude, because people have been collecting Marvel before, Aoki's got into it. People were collecting wrestling before Logan Paul was on WWE. It's just and people were collecting Pokemon long before Logan Paul wore the stupid necklace. It's it's just so lame, and I'm sick of the articles on ESPN about 5 million sales. It's just yeah, it's annoying. That's what we hear about after all the hard work of the wrestling guys like Brett, who've been working on that stuff for years and talking about it for years and building podcasts, and then it's some celebrity does one thing and they get the credit for making wrestling a thing. It's fuck you, man. No, Brett gets the credit, not you, sir.
Exactly. And that's why I say it can be unsung heroes. It can be, the collector is the unsung hero of this hobby, but I do believe the collector will have their day, but it ain't today.
Oh, dude, they haven't had their day maybe on the, man, this is a good game. Hasn't had their day on the, public, being in the public eye or having articles written about them, but they've had their day in the card values because the collector type cards, the stuff we've been talking about, the gold prisms, the rare stuff, that stuff's done well and everything else has come down, and the collectors are the ones being rewarded for that. And the Brett story you posted where he's been collecting this wrestling stuff for a long time, and now the value's gone up and he's being rewarded for it.
Yep, I completely agree. So the collectors, they have been rewarded, I suppose, from a market point of view, but content doesn't appreciate them yet. I think it will.
Yeah.
I think content eventually will start putting the spotlight on the collectors more, but it's more important than ever now that collectors stay true to what they love and not get sucked into this hype, that hype, this newest fad, the next newest fad. Okay, Weekend Update says, do you anticipate when we can go back to collecting what we like again?
Oh, man. Nate's a good friend in the hobby, fellow LeBron collector. I don't know. I mean, we're kind of just talking about it, right? Will they ever get their due in terms of the hobby content world? Are they just going to have to kind of take what's theirs in the world and just keep buying the stuff they like? I don't, I just, like we said, I think the collector just doubles down and keeps doing what they're doing and keeps having fun. We didn't say fun. That was the other thing I wanted to add to what someone in the chat also said it, but have fun.
Yeah, that goes without saying. If we're not having fun, then the hobby is not being done correctly. The best value proposition that the hobby offers is that it is a fun hobby. It makes your life better. So if that's not happening, then time to go back to the drawing board.
Are you watching this game right now?
I am, but I'm on a laptop stream that's probably a little bit behind yours. What's the
The
score?
Pels? 98-94. The Pels are putting the clamps down right now on defense.
What's the minute marker?
2:23. Just
Okay,
a
you're
foul.
like 30 seconds ahead of me.
Oh, okay. It just kind of feels like the Pelicans are pulling away a little bit.
Yeah, as they should. It shouldn't have ever even been this close.
Dude, the
Do you
Clippers
think-
are pretty deep. Like they have some guys, but yeah, it should like the Pelicans have their big three or whatever is much better than the Clippers right now.
Yeah, it is. Do you think Zion comes back for this Pelicans Suns matchup?
Do you know anything about this game right here? Is that as a Suns fan, I have to keep like reading stuff about, oh, is Kawhi coming back? Oh, George will be back. Oh, is Zion coming back? Oh, Zion dunking. It's like, whatever, man. Wake me up when they're playing. When they hit the buzzsaw that is the Suns, they won't be so happy about it.
Nice. All right. Okay.
I'm not worried about Zion coming back and beating the Suns. The Pelicans were 10 games under 500 this year.
They were, but not in the CJ McCollum era. They've actually been pretty good since they made some roster moves.
He's a good player.
He is a good player. Didn't see so many hobby accounts posting about it when he had 27 points and a half, but
Well, that's because there's no money invested in him. There's no nobody's ever really hyped him up to have a big holding of his, so there's no need for those people to post. There's nobody to post about it.
all right. Grail Card Quest says, do you think an increased budget for cards leads to a decrease in creative research and curation? In other words, does setting a budget and limiting yourself to a budget, does that increase your appetite for creative curation and maybe even make you enjoy things more?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you got to kind of find ways to force yourself to be more creative. I've said that a bunch of times. When you don't have unlimited money, creativity is kind of the only thing it's one of your best powers to wield. And it's, things like trying to find cheaper sets that maybe look nice to you, in relation to the more expensive stuff that it doesn't bother you as much having the cheaper brand or whatever. So yeah, I think it can definitely make you more creative.
Yeah, and it can make you bargain a little bit harder as well. It can be really easy to just throw money at things, and it's not as rewarding then when you throw money at stuff and then you're not as excited about the card 6 months later, and you're like, damn, it just now got to the price that I paid 6 months ago.
Yeah, when I sold the LeBron RPA, people might have thought he's just gonna throw all that cash and build a bunch of cards. No, I kind of set that money aside and then made it this new challenge where I have to kind of start over a little bit and build up money through my regular income and other means and kind of work my way back up to the gold LeBron stuff slowly, and it's been fun.
Nice. All right, Bleecker Street Cards says, how do you find or locate cards that are very rare, like a Pop 6 card that's likely tucked away with a collector somewhere?
You know where you should check first? Bleecker Street Cards. Card Ladder Showcase.
Yeah, that's always a good place to look. But don't bother people who don't if somebody doesn't want to be bothered, if they have their messaging turned off, leave it alone.
I was just gonna say you have to get obsessive about it. You just gotta. I mean, there's no shortcut to it. There's not some magical, auction house that has all that stuff. You gotta just put in all your saved searches on eBay. Check Card Ladder Shop, make your saved filters, go to all these different auction houses and My Slabs and everybody, and just keep looking. And then ask people on Instagram, try to find tags on Instagram as best you can, search for people that collect it, ask if they've seen it. You just kind of be annoying and obsessive about it.
Yep, I think that's about right. And you need to be consistent and take no for an answer, but don't give up. And, politely come back to the table from time to time if you can improve your offer. But yeah, it ain't easy. Now this question is related, and I like this question a lot. This comes from Basketball Card Collector 93. What is your strategy when deciding how to curate your collection? So, for example, do you have a count of cards that you don't want to exceed? I'm sure there's a number of ways to go about deciding how to build and manage your collection, but I'm curious as to how you go about doing yours.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely limit the size of it by the number of cards because we can't afford to have every card, so you have to like limit it to some number. You got to kind of pick that in your head, and then like limit it to maybe like the year or the like style. I usually stick to like what I like, which is golds and patch autos and stuff. So I usually just get really really specific.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I try to keep the number down as much as possible.
But then you sell a little bit too when you get too high.
Yeah. Who has the theory of like it should all fit in one shoebox?
That's me. I love that one.
Yeah, there you go. That's a good rule of thumb. I could definitely fit my collection in one shoebox right now.
That's awesome.
If it starts to get beyond that, then my collection, like I also have Christina and I have just stands of like 5 rows as well.
Right. Right, like the main PC or whatever.
Main PC, exactly.
That's an underrated part of the hobby. I'm sure content creators talk about it, but like I don't like memorabilia because it's too big. I didn't really like the video game thing because they're too big. Cards are just so dang portable, and I can literally fit my whole hobby into a shoebox. I like that part of it.
Absolutely. Cardinals, this was the question I thought I was about to read. I will read it now. This is the related question. Cardinal Sports Card says, Christina, Josh, and Chris, what are some of your favorite cards in your collection that you were not pursuing, but then you saw it for sale and you just had to have it? That's kind of the story behind the Luka Concourse Gold rookie PSA 10.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's just that one's so recent, but yeah, that's definitely the Concourse Gold PSA 10.
But it's not like completely the story because that was always a card that we admired. We loved the 2018 Concourse design, whether it's football or basketball. Mm-hmm. Like it's such a good looking card, especially the golds. But like that's how if you have if you understand the whole offering of cards out there for your player or for what you're looking for, then you're really well positioned to like jump on stuff when it pops up because timing is so important to all of this stuff. Oh, don't worry. We're going to get to that topic, Anthony. So
yeah, totally agree. I like that. I really like that last point you made. This is my equivalent where like I already had it in a 9, so I wasn't pursuing it. It came up. It's a pop 2. I was like, this seems like it makes sense. And if you know, like you said, if you know everything that exists, you can kind of make those decisions on the fly as they come up. And it also makes it to where like I'm really big on at least having like a PSA 9. So like when a PSA 8 comes up or a BGS 8.5 or something, I don't need to really like fall over myself to get it or like overpay because I can just kind of be patient depending on how rare it is. Obviously, if it's a PMG green, you don't really have that luxury. But if it's something that's like at a 50 or 100, you don't really need to rush too much because you can like you know that you're in this for the long haul, and so you can kind of like when those moments come up though, you jump on them because you're like, this is a really good time to buy this card. The prices make sense. It's the perfect grade for me. I really, I love those moments when it just kind of makes sense. The Concourse Gold is like the one I was thinking for you guys. It just came up and it was out of nowhere, but it makes sense.
Exactly. That's a pop 1. The PSA 10 was a pop 1. So like,
yeah, you get it.
You get it, and you don't, and if you don't get it, you might never get it again. So that's why like you need to know everything that's out there. You need to have an understanding of everything that's out there. And that's not easy to do. Like when I first started off doing Jordan inserts back in like 2016, 17, 18, 19, I knew every Jordan insert. I knew all of them. I tracked the prices for all of them. Even ones I didn't own, I knew all of them. So if one popped up, like it wasn't like, oh, I have this list and I have to match. It was like I just knew all. And it's a much more fluid mindset to be in. To have an understanding of all the cards that are available and then to strike when the opportunity arises rather than like, oh, this is the next card on my checklist, this is the next one.
Yeah, it doesn't work that way. Like if you have a checklist, especially the stuff we collect, if you have a checklist, like it's sure as shit is not going to go in the order that you think you want it to go in.
Right, it's not. Okay, Card Shop Dad says, talk about what you think needs to happen to keep kids engaged in collecting without them taking an extended break like most of us did. All right.
I wash my hands of this kid topic. This is all yours.
Well, let me ask this. Why do we need to make sure that they don't take a break? Hasn't that been very successful for the hobby, like in the history of cards? That people take a break and then come back with disposable income to use and chase after those grails from their childhood?
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's a good take.
Yeah, that's okay if kids take a break. And, I'm actually going the other way on this topic. I've been trying to raise awareness for this for a while. There's a couple of issues in this hobby right now. One of them is garbage content from influencers, which is a real big problem. The other issue in this hobby is these kids, man.
I have to get a beer.
These kids are out there outbidding us on our grails. I just don't know how else to explain this to you guys. So let me tell you something. Let's say that you were a big fan of the 2014 Prism Gold Messi, which was one of the ultimate headline grabbers at the last Golden auction. Matter of fact, let me just pull up this card while we're talking about it so we can look at this. This is a gorgeous card. It's obviously very important to the soccer collecting category. All right, so let's look at the card really quick.
Oh, it's still going.
This is the card, the 2014 Prism World Cup Gold Messi PSA 10. This card sold with Golden for $522,000 last weekend, which is just an amazing price for that card. Now, let's say that just in a hypothetical world, you had been collecting for 10 years and you consolidated your entire collection down and you saved your wages, your hard-earned dollars. You had been saving up just waiting for this card to come and become available. And then you're sitting on Golden, you're in extended bidding, and you're bidding and you're bidding. You just keep getting outbid. And then eventually you lose, only to find out a few days later that the card was won by an individual who is not old enough to legally drive a car. Okay, this is a real existential crisis that is facing this hobby right now. I'm not sure, I also raised awareness about the dentist Illuminati. There are many dentists in this hobby who secretly control levers and pull strings. There is a child Illuminati in this hobby. They gather together, they win these ultra high-end cards, they laugh at the rest of us. These kids are wealthy beyond belief. They are fully capitalized. Money grows on trees outside their bedroom window. When they want to get the next card, they just reach out the window, pluck the cash from the tree, and bring it into their room, and then they bid on these cards. Look at the grails in this guy's collection. All right, that Zion BGS 9.5 RPA Pop 1 that went for $600,000? Okay, what is this? Is this Joe Burrow's Prism Black rookie 1 of 1? Yes, it is. And then, it does get a little personal for me because this is a Pop 1. This Jokic Prism Gold PSA 10 right here is a Pop 1, and it is owned by someone who's probably a third of my age. These kids are out here. They're winning grails. They are outbidding you for your grails, and these kids run things, and we are just commoners. We are pawns on the chessboard of children.
Notice that your big long rants where I don't say anything for 10 minutes always end in you defending one of your guys. So there you go, people. Just in case you're all confused out there, it ends up with Chris pouting that he can't have a Prism Gold Jokic, or someone thinks Jaw's better than Luka. That's how they start, and this is how they end.
We have to get our energy from somewhere or from something.
You're the guy that's like the locker room material or whatever, like the whiteboard material that people always talk about. That's you. You're the guy that's like, that fucking guy said this thing about us tonight, and we can't score 30 and a quarter. We're scoring 40 in every quarter tonight, boys. This is us.
So I'm just saying, all right, before it goes that old saying, be careful what you wish for. Yeah, I hear a lot of talk about we want all these kids in the hobby. More kids. You still going to say that when these kids are outbidding you for your grails and you have to tap out, and a kid whose voice cracked a year ago is outbidding you on all of your grails? Just saying.
Hide your kids, hide your wife.
These kids out here are savages, and they are running things. And we have the illusion of power. We have the illusion that we are in control of this hobby. We are not. there is a kid Illuminati. So the next time somebody says there's not many kids in the hobby, say, oh, darn. Tough times are ahead. Okay, all right.
Please move on.
Is this game over? This game is not over.
Dude, I'm still like, oh, whoa! This is a good game, dude.
Just tell me, what happened?
Oh, you're 30 seconds behind?
I'm at 16.9 seconds.
And they're like inbounding or something still?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's over. Pelicans win.
Okay.
There you go, Suns. Yeah, waste all your energy, Pelicans. Celebrate away. There you go. Jump up and down a little bit. Maybe pull a calf. Smart.
Nice. All right.
They're going to play in 2 days. They're playing the Suns.
So they play on Sunday or Monday?
Sunday.
Oh, my God.
2 days.
That's like 36 hours.
That's what I'm saying. Jump up and down. Go crazy.
Wow.
Pelicans they got some guys. I mean, Zion comes back. It's like, definitely will get awkward, but Suns should win.
Yeah. Pelicans ain't bad, though. They really aren't. Okay.
No, they're not. They played the Suns tough the last couple games.
All right. Spurs Cards 21 says, how many times a day do you look at your saved searches on eBay? Is 10 times too many?
No, I was gonna say 10, so that's about right. I check my card ladder shop, eBay save searches, about 10 each a day. You?
Yeah. Not 10, probably like 3 or 4, but I don't think there's anything wrong. Just because there's nothing that like I'm actively, anxiously looking for right now. But I do, if you're really in it, 10 is you should be checking them all the time. There's guys who have well-written save searches who make a middle wage salary off of finding those steals.
Oh yeah,
on eBay.
That's correct.
It does happen. All right, this one from our buddy C Rhymes 23. He asks, what percentage of the influencers oh great, this is another one of my talking points. This is another one of my bits.
Oh, great.
What percentage of the influencers in this hobby do not have an agenda? How many people just care about the overall health of the hobby?
1%.
What percentage of it? 1% of influencers or just overall people?
Influencers.
Oh, influencers. It's like 5%.
Yeah, 5. 1. So Christina says 1 in 100. Josh says 1 in 20.
Yeah.
I guess the overall picture, the overall point of this question is like, how many influencers are just generating content for some self-serving reason, whether, it's for the purpose of gaining followers, clout chasing, marketing, or pushing up a certain category of cards or a certain type of card or a certain player, versus how many really care about, in a holistic sense, the well-being, the welfare of the hobby as an industry, the welfare of collectors as a whole, irrespective of whatever particular biases those people might have. And I tend to agree with Jay Pine in the chat. It's very few. It's very few. And it would take an exceptional human being to put aside their self-interest and to altruistically take into consideration the well-being of the whole. It takes a very special person to think about things in those terms and to put the well-being of others over their own. But just because it's an exceptional requirement doesn't mean we can't demand that of content creators and of influencers. We absolutely should. And this comes back to the most basic things, which we talked about for years. Transparency. Who owns what? What positions do they have? Anytime before somebody goes on rants talking about how good this player is or how good that player that is or how good this set is or how good that set is, how good this product is, we need to know positions. That's very important to know. Just little things like that at a bare minimum. But we are at a deficit of content that focuses on the well-being of the hobby as a whole, and there could never be enough of it. That's my take on this question. The more people who are focused on the well-being of the hobby as a whole, the better.
One other anecdote towards that is that, and this is actual advice for people that want to make content and be an influencer or whatever. I don't give a flying fucking shit about how many followers I have, how many people are on our lives, how many people, message me and want to like learn from me or whatever. I don't care. Genuinely, I really don't care how many followers I have. And I think that just kind of like frees up your mind to be able to create content that is not about you, and it's about, the community that you serve and the people around you and the things you genuinely want to talk about and you're interested in. So that's like, to me, that's just like a anecdotal, thing that you can think of maybe when you're getting into this world and social media, and maybe something that can help you.
Yeah, I love that. Look, dude, being a big fish in the hobby pond is meaningless. Who cares? It's the dumbest thing. It's the dumbest concept I've ever heard. Dude, succeeding and thriving in the hobby is not determined by follower counts. Never has been, never will be. Do you know how easy it is to get 50,000 followers? You could go buy them tomorrow. This is a well-documented phenomenon called fake influencers. And people do this stuff and they use it to do even dumber people who don't understand how fake followers work and how it's very easy to purchase followers. It's never been about the follower count. It's never been about the subscriber count. It's not about the viewer count. It's not about the engagement rate. It's about who's making authentic content and who's having meaningful engagements with other human beings about topics that they're passionate about. It really boils down to that. Nothing more, nothing less. And here's on this topic as well. Like, I don't care how many followers a person has, but I do love to know what their latest mail day is, who's their favorite player, what products do they enjoy collecting. Those are the metrics that us in the hobby care about.
Yeah. And dude, my main focus, I feel like maybe we talked about this last time, but like my main focus really is to build my collection. Like you guys can say whatever you want. We can talk about different topics, all the time. We can talk about NBA playoffs. We can talk about sets that are undervalued. We can do whatever we want. In the end, I'm trying to build a collection, and I'm actively pursuing specific cards. And I know that, like, at the end of the day, I can look at my PC. I can feel good about it. I've just put a ton of hard work into it. I can't even count how many hours. That's my main goal. And basically, like, I got onto the internet and social media to, like, share the experience of building a collection with other people. It's really, like, that to me is the part that's missing from the content world now, the hobby content. Is like I can't even like quantify how much content I watch that's not even about cards. It's like, what the fuck is happening? We're not even talking about cards anymore. We're not even talking about collecting. We're not talking about like the sets, the older stuff, the vets, the Hall of Famers. We're just talking about like how to make money, how to flip. Like we're talking about grinding. Like that's a different community. It's a different community. It's people that like to do the garage sale things and we're starved for that content. And I think that's kind of what you said, just kind of giving it a different angle.
Yeah, I like the way you put it. I totally agree with that.
That's what it was when I was doing Cardboard Chronicles and like 5 years ago. I can rattle off guys. But that's what we were doing. We were like actively competing and fighting for specific cards. Like we were after the same 90s stuff of our own players. We were helping each other get cards of our players. And it was like, oh, this guy collects Grant Hill. This guy collects Penny Hardaway. And that's what it was for like a really long time. And then I don't know what shifted. I guess it's just like, the monetary value and stuff took over and the greed and stuff. But I don't know, man. It's money driven. Like the people who are influencers, the reason that percentage is so low is that the primary driver of becoming an influencer is that you are trying to do something for yourself. You're trying to like build an audience so that you could accomplish something else monetarily. And so the people that like created the content before the money was here just kind of have a leg up on having more genuine content because that wasn't something they did when they started the content, and they've continued it through. And a lot of them have shifted to the value stuff, but I think that's another aspect to this is it's a lot of it's money driven.
Wow, I have nothing to add to that. All right, this is an ongoing topic, by the way. This is not the last time we'll talk about this topic, and look, as the hobby gets bigger, dude, I follow hashtags on Instagram. I follow the hashtag who do you collect? I follow the hashtag Community America. Dude, I'm seeing people from fields that have zero relationship to sports cards whatsoever using those hashtags. Why are they using those hashtags? The reason is obvious. They're using those hashtags because their analysis and their analytics tell them that those hashtags have very good engagement and they have high visibility.
Puke.
Yeah, so they're using our hashtags to promote their garbage that has nothing to do with cards. All that the reason why I'm pointing that out is because I'm trying to explain that our hobby and its reach and its ability to connect with consumers is at an all-time high, and it's going to keep getting bigger. And we're going to keep having more people come in and try to capture audiences, try to use our community and use our collector bases. They're trying to use that to boost their own numbers, to boost their own engagement, to boost their own follower counts. And it sucks, but it's not going anywhere, and it's only going to get worse. So guess what? We can not be happy about it, and we can complain about it, and we can make content that says this is dumb and we hate this. And when I do that, when I do like make story posts or I make content that says like, I'm sick of these influencers, I'm sick of people who don't care about the well-being of the hobby, I'm sick of these self-serving agendas, I'm sick of this clown content repelling people from joining our hobby. When I make that content, so many collectors reach out and say, thank you for saying this. I'm thinking the same thing. And you know what most of them actually end up telling me? They end up telling me, you're going too light. You need to name names. You need to go harder. Why aren't you telling us who these people are so we don't listen to them anymore? Keep going, keep doing this, keep going harder.
Let me interrupt you. I'm gonna have you keep going, but I kind of wanted to get something on your mind. I think it's no secret that you're very aggressive with this topic on stories, and you're not holding back. You're going at it, and you're obviously like very passionate about the things that you are, like the topics, the Jokic stuff, the Luka stuff, and like it's obvious you go hard on it. But this one is just different, and you just seem to be very focused on it, and a lot of people are noticing it. And to your point, like some people are like maybe telling you to cool it, but a lot of people are like, dude, actually, I think you're not going hard enough. What are you thinking about when someone brings up like, hey, maybe you're going too hard, like, or the level of like how hard you go, knowing who you are as a person, like what's your thought process there?
Well, we're all on the same team with this hobby thing. Like if I'm talking Luka or Giannis or Jordan or Jokic or something, if I'm talking about those people, for every one person that agrees, there at least is one that doesn't. And for like, if it's like Jokic or Luka, for every one person who agrees, there's like 20 that don't. So I'm very sensitive to not triggering too many people all at once. All right. So I'm very sensitive to that. Like I'll go softer on topics where I have 5% of the people with me. But on these hobby topics, when it comes to like the fact that there's reason to believe that content creators are actually harming the market for cards, that they're making our industry look clownish, we have 95 to 100% consensus on that. So I'm not going to hold back at all. We are all together. This is we are all together. This is a unified front.
All in this together.
Exactly. So like, look.
Musical trash, really?
We watched that tonight with my family. So just
I don't like to pick arguments that I don't have. It's like oh my God, Sun Tzu, right? The Art of War. Pick battles that you've won before you even enter the battle. That's why with Jokic, it's so easy. Nobody can argue me on Jokic. He had the best statistical single season, one of the best 5 statistical single seasons of all time. He's the best player efficiency rating of all time. He's the best box plus minus of all time. First season ever, they have 27, 14, and 7 averages. First season to go 2,000, 1,500. Nobody can argue with me on that. And that's why I'm not going to speak up until I have the knockdown, drag-out argument won. I'm not going to speak up about it. Same thing with this hobby content. Okay, this is easy. The pieces to the puzzle are there. Somebody just needs to put them together. All right, that's it.
Yeah, I mean, not many people think that way, Chris. That's why I'm bringing it up. Is like most people just like are just too shy, or they maybe feel like they don't want to upset a certain subgroup of people, so they just don't bother. You know, if you don't have something nice to say, don't say it at all kind of crowd. And you are not that way, so it's nice to have you on our side.
No, you're not that way either. You know, you will speak up and say the truth, but with sensitivity towards the feelings of others. We're not. Well, sometimes we do just want to run roughshod over others because they deserve it. But most of the time, we want to be sensitive to other people's feelings. But you know, dude, if everybody was just a blue skies optimist, that's when bubbles get made. When everybody thinks the grass is just so green, and everybody thinks all the skies are always blue, every glass is half full, that's when bad actors come in and start selling their snake oil, and you start getting these pump and dump schemes, and nobody has the wherewithal to say, wait a minute, something isn't right here, something isn't adding up, something isn't organic, something's wrong here. And if people don't speak up about that, that's where you get bubbles.
My reaction is usually, it's just like an instinct of mine where I just like, the harder someone goes in one direction, the more I want to go in the other. Mm-hmm. So like the more people just slobber over Trae Young, the more I'm like, I mean, come on, he's got a lot of flaws. And now that people are like shitting on Trae Young, I'm like, he had a pretty good game. My like instinct is to kind of like push things to the middle always. Mm-hmm. Like I just don't want to get too high or too low. So when I see the content just gets so positive on everything, I'm just like, really? It's really not that positive. Like a lot of it's trash. Like I don't know what you're talking about. Dude, there's like some of the bad content, you know, people want us to name names and we just don't do that. But like I know you don't watch a lot of that content. I try to follow it as best I can to keep my finger on it a little bit. When I find those posts and those videos and I scroll through the comments, like 95%, I'm not joking, 95% of the comments are just like trashing them. Like, what is this garbage? So to your point, like 90, 95, 100% of people are like, we don't like this. But then why are people watching it? Why am I watching it? Why am I going to watch the trash? Are we watching train wrecks to watch train wrecks? Or are we actually like supporting this stuff? Because when we watch it, we support it. And I'm giving myself advice to stop watching it. But I don't know. Is there something to that? Like we like the consensus is there. And I find a video or a post that you and I laugh about because it's so laughably bad. Mm-hmm. All the comments are in agreement with us that this is trash.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I agree. And I think the problem is really this simple. People are starved for hobby content and card-related content. And the offering, this is the offering. This is what's on the menu. And like, it's mm-hmm. going to be that way. The best collectors, the most knowledgeable people, the people who would theoretically have the best content to offer, already in almost every scenario are highly successful in some other avenue of life.
Yeah.
Especially dentistry, for some reason.
Well, the other thing is, like, the people who I'm thinking of, who, if they made content, we would love the hell out of it, don't, because they're not, you know, they're not public facing, or they're not public speakers maybe, and I'm not either. Like, you don't really strike me as a public speaker type either, but we've just sort of been thrusted into this role. But like Rodman or David Owens, like people that we know in private have really good thoughts. They have really strong takes in the hobby. They know a ton about the hobby. They've got great collections. But we just don't see their stuff because they're not in the public for whatever reason. And the people who are influencers generally have a background in being an influencer, to your point, or they maybe were like an actor, or they've got some sort of skill about public speaking, and it doesn't necessarily translate for us to want to consume that stuff. We'd rather consume the people who aren't talking. I don't know if there's something there.
Oh, completely. And the fact that this hobby naturally skews introvert, and mm-hmm. it's always been a haven for recluses and introverts, it makes it even less likely that people are going to just suddenly come out of their shells and start making content. The content that we make is we post pictures of our cards. That's the content that we make. But that's all the content that we need. That's all we want.
Yeah, I didn't mean to say you're not a public speaker. You have the skill for it, but you strike me as, you know, like we like talking cards, but we're not like actively seeking to be.
Yeah, neither one of us go out of our way to talk in front of crowds.
No, that's absolutely true. We preferred the small groups at Vegas, and then when we were put on stage, we'll do it. You know, we can public speak. We're pretty good at it. We have experience with it, but we're definitely not going out of our way.
No. the juice isn't worth the squeeze to get up on stage, prepare a speech, gesture in these directions, have a PowerPoint slide behind you. That's just not that's not an end goal.
I want to give
fuck the PowerPoints.
I wanted to give a shout out to Christina. She's like the only person who is like, when I was going on stage at Mint, I like wasn't super thrilled about it. I don't really love going on stage, and she just like noticed that and was like, "Are you okay?" And most people just like don't think about stuff like that. So shout out to Christina for having the back of her team.
Always, Josh. Always.
She knows I'm an introvert at heart.
I'm just joking.
No. Well, because then I'll like, "Hey, Chris, what are we doing next? What's the plan?" And he just looks at me like I'm an idiot. Like, why are you asking me? I don't plan anything.
I don't.
Like, what are we doing tomorrow? He's like, "Christina, what are we doing tomorrow?" It's like,
yeah.
Real quick, South. Let's just put it on the tab, South. Let's start a tab, all right, and we'll roll it into some more wagers.
How about at the end, by the like mid-weekend, not even by the end, like an hour into the weekend, it wasn't just Chris being like, "What are we doing next, Christina?" It was also Josh. What are we doing next, Christina?
Yeah. That's your fault, though. If you weren't there, Christina, I'd be planning, and I would like take that reign, and I would run with it. But since you're doing it, I'm like, well, fuck it. I'm just gonna stop thinking.
That's awesome. All right, let's. That's a good topic, but there's so many more that we have to go through here. So this one is from Drake's PC, who is celebrating his birthday today. So happy birthday, Drake. He says, what advice do you have for acquiring a rare card when you personally have a very focused player collection, like a LeBron collection? But the person who has the card has a collection where, the LeBron card that you want is not really a focus of their collection.
Yeah.
So what do you do in that situation? The easy answer is to offer them enough money where they can't say no, but that feels irresponsible. What do you do? How do you pry that card out?
Those are hard because that person like has you over a barrel, right? Like they know that you want the player and they don't, so they have some of the. But I mean, you could use that leverage in reverse to be like, you're not going to keep this. I know you're going to sell it eventually. Why not sell it to the person who's sitting right here that wants the player? Depends on the rarity. It depends on what card it is. Obviously, use card ladder, sales history, try to find comps. My strategy is the same as yours. I number the hell out of them. I math the shit out of them. Like, here's the comp. Here's the market that's moved since that day. Here's the player index. Here's like a similar player in a different. Like, I just throw all that shit at them where they're just like it becomes apparent that they're just not willing to be reasonable with me, or they just like give up and like, fine, you're right.
Totally. Great. I have nothing to add to that. And sometimes you have to move on. Okay. Mad City Collector says, should statistical dominance or whether you like to watch someone play have more relevance in the hobby? And this applies to like Jokic, this applies to Mike Trout, this applies to collecting goats, dude, this might be anathema to some people, but I'm not rushing to go look at Bill Russell and Will Chamberlain tapes.
Right.
But I respect that they are, two of the top X players of all time. And I would love to own some of their cards.
Well, this is kind of a cheat answer, but I'm going to say
both. Both.
No. I'm going to say, well, kind of preferring to watch them play, or like the style of play, or however you want to say that, because generally, like, if their style of play is really strong and it's good to watch and it's enjoyable, the stats are going to kind of follow, whereas the reverse isn't necessarily true.
Yeah. Okay, so just for the sake of this, I'll go the other way. I will say that embrace the players who are the stars when we pick up the objective lens of stats. Stats, numbers, they're not perfect, especially absence of context. They can even be misleading. Right. But I love stats. Stats are the way that I can tell stories about my favorite players. So, like you point out, I made a story about Olajuwon today, and I said Olajuwon is the all-time NBA leader in blocks. Olajuwon averaged more than 4 blocks a game for like 4 different single seasons, which is ridiculous. Olajuwon has a career block average of 3.1, and over the last 10 seasons, that's his career, which includes several really bad years. Excuse me. And over the last 10 seasons, only 2 of them have a higher single-season block per game stat line than is Olajuwon's career. In other words, Olajuwon's career number is better than the best blocker's best single season today.
Right.
No one's catching him on all-time blocks. No one's catching him. It's over. Forget it. Olajuwon is the all-time blocks leader. I love stats. I can use those stats to tell a story about why Hakeem Olajuwon is an amazing player to collect. So I like the stats.
What's amazing about that Olajuwon stuff is that he's known for his offense and his dream shake and his creativity in the paint and his post moves. But he's the best fucking defender blocker of all time, and it's not even close. I love stuff like that.
Over 4 blocks a game for multiple seasons. It's just, dude, the leading block guy this year is like 2.7 blocks a game. 4 blocks a game? It's just, plus with load, it's unbelievable.
Do you remember when a certain influencer, Shmary V, was hyping the Olajuwon stuff? And his reasoning was that, like, culturally or, like, because he's from Africa and Africa's underrated as a country or as a continent. And I was like, what? That's the stuff? That's the route you took? The guy's one of the best players of all time. And he's got, like, a post move named after him. He's the all-time leader in block. Why don't you say that stuff?
Yeah. Because that's
he won. Here's the easiest one. He won 2 rings when no one else was winning rings for a 10-year stretch of a decade because Michael Jordan existed. And he's the only one. Granted, it was because Michael Jordan retired, but still, when Jordan retired, it's like, holy shit, now's our chance. And who's the one who emerged? Hakeem Olajuwon 2 times. He destroyed Shaquille O'Neal in the finals, made him look like a baby. Shaq, even to this day, admits, I got completely humiliated. I don't know. I didn't know enough about defense. I didn't know how to play basketball. Olajuwon made me look like a fool, swept us, and Olajuwon is the man. He's go watch that finals if you can find highlights of that. He's cooking Shaq.
Yeah, yep, I totally agree. And so Kevin points out here, guys took the ball to the paint way more then than they do now, which is true. All stats need context. You know, they always need stats. Are never the end all be all. They never tell.
Yeah, but the counter to that is today's NBA game is all threes, layups, or free throws. Mm-hmm. And back then it was mid-range. I would assume that it's easier to block layups than it is mid-range. So, you know, there's some – you could counter that. Yeah,
no, you could counter that. And here, since we're on stats, this is a take that I'm developing that I don't think I've heard anywhere, and it's about advanced analytics in any sport, baseball, whatever. You know, people will say, here's why wins above replacement in baseball is a bad statistic. Because it says that player X is good and better than player Y and Z, and we know that that's not true. Or like in basketball, like with player efficiency rating, people say like, well, Robert Williams is in the top 10 in player efficiency rating, and there's no way that he's better than John Morant. You know, like people will say things like that. It's like, yeah, I get that, right? Like there's something instinctual that says, well, this list can't be right if it doesn't line up with my pre-existing notion of how good people are. So we just, and a lot of people just, they're happy to end the argument there and say, well, that advanced analytic is stupid because it says one player is good and I know he's not. Oh, really? How many Robert Williams III games have you watched? How do you know that Robert Williams III isn't actually a very valuable player? And then when he went out for the Celtics for a while, it turned out that he was. Nobody has time to watch all the games. The reason why advanced analytics are helpful is that they're supposed to be able to instruct us in the things that we aren't able to humanly devote time to watching. And why isn't the instinctual reaction to an advanced analytic to say, oh, this analytic says Robert Williams III is good? Maybe I missed something. This is a player who I need to watch. Instead, the response is, this advanced analytic, throw it away because it says a player is good that doesn't fit my preconceived notion of who's good or not. And especially when if we actually investigate the source, the origins of where did our preconceived biases come from, oftentimes who we think is good and not is what Shaq and Chuck and Stephen A. Smith tell us in the first place. So we have to, if we could disabuse ourselves of this idea that we know better and instead go into statistics with more of an open mind and say, maybe I could learn something from this. Maybe there's something I'm missing. I think that would be nice.
You know what the advanced analytics remind me of? The CO value, where it's like, look at it, understand what it means, figure out the calculation behind it, see how it can help you learn more about a player, but don't necessarily use that as your, de facto end of the day ranking system. Like, use it as another tool for you to figure out. That's all it is, man. It's just a bunch of stats, a bunch of analytics, and use those analytics and tools to your advantage to figure out how you would rank somebody, right? Like, if you think you want to use an argument that Trae Young is not as good as everyone else is hyping him up to be, just go look at his defensive analytics. They're really bad. And that's all you got to do. And it's a very easy tool for you to be able to use in an argument.
Yep. Definitely. And there's enough advanced analytics out there that most of the time, you can find one or two to support your preferred.
Everybody. Right. It's hard to find the Jokic ones, I'll admit. I've tried. I was digging, and it's not easy because he's really good at offense and defense.
The Jokic broke analytics. That's what happened there.
Do you think he actually thinks about basketball that way?
Here's how Jokic plays the game. He never stops running. He never stops moving. He pushes everything into a fast break. He's constantly involved in motion on offense and defense. So I think that somehow he was either taught that or instinctually he just came to that conclusion, probably taught. But it's definitely an intentional thing that, hey, if you maximize these certain avenues of your game, your production and your team's likelihood of winning is going to go up.
But to get back to the question of stats versus style of play, when you find the Jordans, the LeBrons, the Kobe's, the Lucas, those are the guys that meet both and they do them really well. Mm-hmm. And then also the guys who are at this level that I'm describing, this top of the top, also are like the Jokic's, where they're actually they're manipulating it and they're thinking about how to do all of these things at once. And then the Jordans and LeBrons are thinking about, how do I specialize my autograph? How do I engage with the fans? How do I build a business off the court? There's certain guys that just literally do all of it, and they're always thinking about all of it, and they're 10 steps ahead of everybody else. And that's the apex, the convergence, the what's the stupid chart where the circles?
Venn diagram.
The Venn diagram of they do all of it. And there's very, very few guys. Tom Brady, is another one that comes to mind where it's that dude is a beast in his mind, physically on the field. The stats back it up. He looks to be the best with the eye test. He's dominating off the field with the businesses. It's just so there's another nugget.
Absolutely. Speaking of nuggets, I challenge everybody in this chat to watch the Nuggets tomorrow night. And then we'll report back. Matter of fact, watch every Nuggets playoff game until next Friday and tell me what you guys honestly think. Is Jokic a watchable player? Do you like to watch him play or not? Because I've been on both sides of that fence. Up until a month and a half ago, I did not like watching Jokic play. Then I watched him come back from 10 points down versus the Pelicans into the fourth quarter, score over 30 points and in overtime, bunch of steals, shot 100% from the floor. And it was that game when I said, I actually might like watching this guy. Something has changed. And then ever since I have been watching him, and I do enjoy watching him now. But I challenge people, have I just drank my own Kool-Aid? Am I forced myself to like it? So I challenge everybody, watch Jokic during these playoffs. It won't be hard to watch because even if you don't naturally you'll be watching Steph Curry too and Klay Thompson as well. Watch those games and tell me what you think.
I definitely have a style that I like, and Luka is the only one that comes close to the style I like of the younger guys. But I do like watching Jokic too, so I like watching a lot of these guys. The NBA is we rant about the media not doing a good enough job. The reason they're not doing a good enough job is they have the best fucking pool of talent in history of the NBA, in my opinion. There's so many fucking guys that are so good. Trae Young squeaked into the playoffs, and he had like 36 points. He led the NBA in points and total assists.
Yep.
He's like, what is he, like 6th in PER? And he squeaked into the playoffs. That's how deep this fucking talent pool is. I like watching all these guys, man. I love it. Like, the NBA is so deep and so talented. Like, just turn on any of these games, and I guarantee you'll be interested in watching some of these guys.
That's so true. I mean, Bill Simmons is like running with his take that Anthony Edwards is like looks like a young LeBron. That he's going with that take now.
He's like the 30th best player in the NBA.
I was very impressed. Even though the Hornets got absolutely eviscerated by the Hawks, LaMelo Ball impressed me because he has the ability to get around guys and get to the rim. And that's really tough to do in the NBA.
Yes,
like, LaMelo Ball impressed me, honestly, as well. There's lots of players who are pleasant to watch. And we do not have that. We don't have a shortcoming of that. This isn't like the NFL where, like, only 10 teams have a good quarterback and everybody else is struggling. We have so many good quarterbacks, quote unquote, in the NBA.
That's my problem with the NFL. Like, that's why I like the NBA better than the NFL. You just said it. It's just like, I love my team, but our quarterback sucks. So, like, what's the point of even watching? That's annoying. Whereas basketball, you've got teams that are at the top with good centers, good point guards. That, like, your best player doesn't the position they play doesn't necessarily hold them back.
That's right. Okay, let's get to some more questions here before we only have about 30 minutes left. Chromie G said, Naz Nubbs had an epic story supporting his friend in finding a grail. What are your personal steps when you are trying to locate a grail of yours? Love all these questions from people trying to figure out how to find their really rare card. People are hunting the grails out there. I'm sensing.
Yeah, dude, like, we get the sense that the majority of the hobby is what we consume through these shitty influencers. And I refuse to believe that's what the heart of the hobby actually is. Like, the heartbeat and, like, what goes on a day-to-day basis is still a bunch of people trying to find cards they want to buy and own and collect and stuff. So, like, I'm holding on to hope that that's true. That's my answer to this question.
Okay. Yeah. But in terms of, like, we've already talked about this, though. Like, what do you do to go out and try and find your grail? Like,
you network.
Oh my God, that's such a, do you want to wrestle with that question right now?
No, I mean, I said it earlier tonight. You just got to obsess. You got to be annoying. You got to be obsessive. You got to find the card. You got to ask the people, ask around Instagram. That's why a lot of people make Instagram. They don't want to public speak or be a social media person or influencer. They just want to use it to fucking DM people and find stuff.
Yeah. That's
the only reason I still have Facebook. If it wasn't for cards and, like, finding cards I wanted, I would have deleted my Facebook so long ago.
All right, Sports Card Poppy says, how negative is the impact of obvious pump and dump schemes that are targeting obscure categories of the hobby? How negative is that on the new people entering the space?
This one is so easy. This is why I attack and go after the blue skies up and right thing forever, because it's such an easy argument for me to make of the person who comes into the hobby following that advice. They buy something for $10,000 and then it goes to $1,000 and they're so fucking pissed they leave the hobby forever, and we've lost all of that future possibility of them investing and buying cards and collecting. It's gone because of one mistake that they made because they followed the influencer. It's such an easy argument to make that, like, to your point earlier, I don't need to, like, get all fancy with it and, like, convince everyone and piss people off. It's such an easy argument. Don't fucking do it, because we're going to lose people that get fucking clobbered because you give shitty advice.
Yep. All right. Nothing to add.
What else literally, what else do I need to say? Is it like, oh, maybe they'll, like, find maybe we can redirect them or something. We don't know. Like, I can't describe to you the situation for every single person that enters the hobby. All I can tell you is that if you tell them to buy something for $10,000 and it goes to $1,000, I'm pretty sure they're going to be fucking pissed and they're going to leave.
Absolutely, beyond a shadow of a doubt. I think that question knew its answer, but somebody wanted to hear it.
I'll give that take as many times as you guys want me to give it. And I've said it a billion times on my stories. I'll just keep saying it.
Yeah,
The reason I don't want you to pump and dump is because I don't want you to burn people.
It's never been more important than saying it right now. And this problem is only going to get worse, and there needs to be pushback on it because this influencer culture thing is only going to get more out of control. There's only going to be more people coming in using the hobby as a vehicle to get clout and to fashion themselves as these little celebrities in the hobby because they have follower counts. And this is and they all feel they don't have depth of knowledge in the hobby, and they all have the incentive to latch on to like, oh, this is the hot thing right now, so let me just make a bunch of content surrounding this, and it ends up being extremely misleading.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, let me use the scientific method for you. I don't actually know the details of the scientific method, but I can prove it to you through some like steps of logic. Step one, we know that a market can be influenced and a card can be pushed to a new limit based on two people with money. We know that a Moses Malone can go from $12,000 to $100,000 with two enthusiastic collectors who believe that this is the next card they want to add to their collection. It only takes two people with money to move a market from $12,000 to $100,000. Now you've proved that it only takes two people to move something and add a new value to some new thing that didn't exist before. Now, because of that, the person who came in and was influenced to buy that Marvel card for $88,000, and then he bought that card for $88,000, and then it was then tanked to $22,000. If he leaves the hobby because he's fucking pissed, his $88,000 on one Marvel card, imagine what that person could have invested in the entire hobby. You take that person out. You could have removed somebody increasing a market on several players, all because you gave bad advice on coming in, pumping, and dumping Marvel. You see that very simple example of one person getting burned on one card, not being able to influence and grow the market of several other players and several other things they might actually genuinely be interested in because you felt the need to pump and dump Marvel.
Beautiful. And while we're at it, Cards and Candy 911, a name we haven't said as much lately on this show, but he was back firing off some questions this week. Cards and Candy 911 said, talk about the NFT and the Marvel decline. So you just talked a little bit about Marvel decline. Let's just talk about NFTs for a second, because something very funny and amazing happened last week.
Can I first say that, like, I'm not happy about the Marvel crash? And it's not even like a crash, you know, like some stuff's going down. We don't have the data on everything going down, and the index is still hasn't caught up to like the claims I've made. So I'm not like happy about the crash. You know, this is the point I'm trying to make is like, if you wouldn't have pumped it up to the point of like, this makes no sense, it could not have crashed. Because, you know, it can't come down if it didn't go up. Go on with the NFT thing.
Yeah. Oh, and let me just one last thought on that too, because like, never is it good long term for something to go from $500 to $100,000 over the span of 6 months. And the reason why that's not good long term is that it doesn't leave any space for collectors to come in at each incremental level. So if that card went from 500 to 750 to 1,000 to 1,500 to 2,000 to 2,500 to 3,000, at every step of the way, there's space for people to come in and get involved and to enjoy collecting it. But if it goes from 500 to 100,000, 99% of the people whoever would have been able to afford to participate in buying that card are ruled out. And so now you've narrowed the market of relevant buyers to such a small pool that if any one or two people leave that pool, it's done, kaput. And then you have to look for all of eternity at a hideous middle finger graph on Card Ladder.
I never even thought of that take. That's great.
Yeah. So, all right. So, Cards and Candy says NFT decline. Okay.
I'm so ready.
Something really awesome happened last week. This should put a little extra jump in your step. This should brighten your day. This is an extra shot of espresso in the morning. If you're listening to this in the morning, just come along for this ride because this will make you very happy.
This is Christina. He's about to do his little woohoo.
I just invented that woohoo tonight. All right. So, David is already playing defense, and we haven't even said it.
Let's go.
This is going to be the first time David ever joins our live. All right. So, last year, Jack Dorsey's first ever tweet. And by the way, Jack Dorsey is no slouch. This guy is a big deal. Jack Dorsey is a big Twitter honcho, very famous. Woohoo! Great celebrity. All right. Just such a great man of culture and wisdom and decency. His first ever tweet, Jack Dorsey's first ever tweet, was minted into an NFT and then purchased by a self-described Iranian crypto enthusiast for $2.9 million last year. $2.9 million for the Jack Dorsey's first tweet of it minted into an NFT. And that should be a great NFT, right? It's historic. It's Twitter bros. It's crypto bros. It's Jack Dorsey, bro. It's everything, right? It's all together. This should be the pinnacle of the NFT collectability. The NFT experience is all nestled neatly into this NFT.
Are you trying to trigger David? Is that what this?
I love David. David is one of my favorite hobby people in the world.
He is, by the way.
So,
he's definitely my favorite.
The owner of this NFT decided, out of the generosity that flows from his heart,
I love that you did that.
That he will sell this NFT and he will give half of the proceeds to charity. Which
after he profits $20 million.
Right, which he estimates to be $25 million. Okay, so he says, I'm going to sell this, and he puts it for auction on OpenSea, which is, for lack of a better analogy, the eBay of NFTs. He puts it for sale, it runs at auction, and the highest bid that the Jack Dorsey first tweet NFT receives is $280. $280. Now, because this
it's up to 10K now, to be fair.
It's up to 10K now? Yeah, because they pumped it. Because they pumped the tank. They pumped the tank. And by the way, it can't give the 10K because the auction ended, but because of the way that these NFT people do business, they let you decide to not accept the outcome of your auction, which is ridiculous. But anyway, here we are. NFT went from $2.9 million to $280 in 1 year. All right? So we rejoice in this community at the failures of crypto bros.
I love the, you know how, like, I've never been a big fan of, like, the giveaways, you know, like, that whole vibe. And I just can point to this now to be like, see, this guy, right, this fucking guy right here thought, oh, I'm going to be this, like, slick motherfucker, and I'm going to make it where it's like, oh, this charity giveaway, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, yeah, after, dude, I can very simply do the math, and it's like, after you cash your $22 million, then you give the rest to charity. I bet you would say anything to pump that number from $3 million to $48 million.
You also have to think, of course he's going to donate half to charity because that's the tax break for him against his profits.
I didn't even get into the tax thing. You're right.
It's not even like, oh, I'm also, like, I made money, I'm giving to charity. It's, I made money and now I don't want to pay taxes, so.
Well, here's the cautionary tale. This amazing crypto bro decided he was going to spend $2.9 million on this item, thinking, hey, if I spend $2.9 million next year, it's going to be worth $50 because that's the way this thing works. And it's not the way it works. And there's a lot of people who have been led to think that the collectible space works that way, and it doesn't. And, you know, we talk a lot about hot potato. We talk a lot about people getting left holding the bag. This guy, all of the above. He's got the hot potato. The musical chairs ended, and he didn't have a chair. This guy's holding the bag. This guy put $2.9 million onto something that's worth less than 1% now.
David said the guy that bought it is 9 years old. Boom. Gotcha. So, like, okay, so just to be clear, just to like recap for the folks at home and those keeping score, we are laughing and dancing on the grave of this NFT bro, but when it happens to a card guy, we get very defensive and upset. Is that correct?
We have to. But this would never happen to cards. Even in the worst of all worlds, there is no card that is worth $2.9 million that would be worth 280 a year later. Now, maybe that we are verging towards that with some of these ridiculous categories. Like, if somebody told me a ticket sold for $3 million this year and went for $280 next year, I wouldn't be surprised at all. But, like, a $2.9 million Mickey Mantle 52 tops going from 2.9 to 208, that ain't happening.
Right.
That ain't happening.
Because this was my rant that I started on my stories this week, and I'll continue it now if you'd like. How are we not rooted in this very simple thought, this very simple concept? And I say it all the time, and again, I'm going to say it again. Do you want to own this thing? How much are you willing to spend of your own money that you earned in your life and your living, the money that you have in your possession? How much of that are you willing to spend to obtain said item? And if you can't answer that question, you should probably figure that out. Like, if I said to you, Chris, do you want to buy this Gold Prism Luka rookie for X? And eventually I'm going to say a number and you're going to say, yes, I want that thing. I want to buy it. I want to own it. I want it in my life. I want to look at it. I want to be able to tell other people I own it. I'm willing to give you X. That's how markets work. That's how supply and demand works. Like, there's a demand for you to want that item. And eventually you're going to cross a threshold. I'm going to keep saying a number higher and higher. And eventually you're going to say, like, nah, not worth it anymore. I don't want it anymore. Right? That's how it works. What fucking guy is like, I want to pay $3 million to have a picture of a goddamn tweet of some dingus who started Twitter? There's no world in which that makes sense. And so the true market value of it played itself out. The true value of that thing is $280. We saw it, right? Like, the hype wore off. The pump and dump scheme has been played out. The Ponzi scheme is over. It's actually worth this. This is what people want to pay to actually own the item. Please think about that when you're buying cards. Don't just like spend $50K because you think you have to spend $50K on something. Spend $50K because you're willing to separate yourself from $50K of future wealth in your life. That's how badly you want that thing. Is that crazy? Nobody talks about this.
Well said. All right. I also want to pivot into the metaverse being a total joke. And 40 seconds.
All you do is give me a golf clap and you just move into the metaverse. All right.
No, because we're rolling here. Metaverse, 47% fee structure. But before we get to the metaverse, I'm teeing up the metaverse. All right. But before we do the metaverse, let me just say one more thing too, because some people are making impassioned arguments. David is pointing out, hey guys, Bored Apes are at an all-time high. This is not applicable to all NFTs, and so on and so forth. And obviously, fine. I did look it up. Ironically enough, the highest ever Bored Ape sold on April 3rd for $2.9 million. So let's just wake up here at $2.9 million. But anyway, putting that aside, right, fine, you're right. There are some NFTs and markets for NFTs that have held up and are doing quite well. That's not the point. The point is we hate NFTs. NFTs are being marketed to sports card collectors. NFTs are being used to siphon money out of the sports card collecting hobby. We are institutional stakeholders in the well-being of the sports card hobby. We hate things that are predatory and trying to creep in and hurt our hobby. So we hate NFTs. So when something NFT related pops up and we can make fun of it because it shows the reasons why we hate NFTs and why they're dangerous, we are going to do it. This isn't like a debate club. This is point and laugh at the people who have been victimizing our industry club. That's what this is, just so we're 100% clear.
And it's better content.
And it's great content.
All right. David says in the chat he also hates the metaverse. So now that we have David's blessing to show the metaverse.
Let's go.
I am feeling quite passionate in my rant against the metaverse. And I was getting some DM smoke. People were sliding into my DMs, as they say, about how I'm very ignorant about the metaverse and how, oh, God. So basically, Meta, Facebook, as it used to be called, the artist formerly known as Facebook, released their structure of fees for the metaverse when exchanging goods, and it's like 47%. And I looked into it; it's like 30% of it is like the platform fee, and there's like a 17% middleman fee for some company. And I was just like, 47%. Are you guys really going to fall for this crap? Are you really going to fall for the trap of the corporate America that has tricked you into thinking this thing is supposed to be decentralized and that we, the average people, control the metaverse and we control the market and we decide what's worth what? We own our own property and we get to have, I think the big pitch is like, you get to have like royalties on the things you own. You get to have a share of it. Like we own it. And here comes Facebook, this giant corporation, the Matrix, the government, whatever like, crazy theory you have on who's controlling our minds, comes in and literally tells you to your face, I'm building the metaverse and I'm going to charge you a fucking ass money. So get fucked. And you still are like, oh, the metaverse is so great. Dude, okay, so here are the two sides. Either you think, why aren't you just showing dumpsters? Either you think that a single corporation is going to build the all-encompassing metaverse to rule them all, and we're all going to abide by this new metaverse, and we're going to live in it, and we're going to have a single exchange of goods with a single currency that we all map to. Let's call it meta dollars, and we all agree that this is the system. That's one extreme, right? You follow that? That's the centralized version, the corporate-controlled metaverse. And it's actually like a little bit more organized that way. The other extreme is we've got 1 billion metaverses, and it's a decentralized metaverse, and everyone has their own metaverse. And I have my Josh coins in my metaverse. You have your Chris coins. We have the Stanley bucks. We have the Truth bucks.
Not to be confused with Dogecoin.
And in that world, it's complete anarchy and chaos, and there's no systems to follow. There's no transfer of goods across metaverses. It makes absolutely no sense. But the fees are low because we've got the market speaking for what's the best way to structure the fees because we've got true market supply and demand. Which of those two worlds do you want? You decide. I just gave you the two scenarios.
They both suck. Neither one of them accomplishes what the metaverse proselytizers wanted to accomplish.
So, okay, we agree it sucks, and like the exchange of goods makes no sense. The currency in this world makes no sense. It's digital. It's completely made up. It's infinitely reproducible. There's nothing physical to back it up. There's no tangible asset. It's a joke. So now we move to a state of, okay, how about the technology of it? It's fancy Zoom. That's where we end up. We end up where Chris started. It's fancy Zoom. I'm done.
Oh, that's amazing. So look, I have nothing to add to that, but here's another question I have for you metaverse idiots. All right, so you know what this made me think of? This is a person in the metaverse in another metaverse. This is a metaverse person in a metaverse within the metaverse. So where does it end, guys? How do I know that once I get into the metaverse and I think, hey, I finally made it and I'm rich and I have so much crypto, how do I know that after I'm in the metaverse, you don't try to sell me another metaverse? So I have to put on one headset, then I go into the
my scenario too.
I have to put on another headset and join another metaverse. And then once I'm in that metaverse, I might need to go into another metaverse potentially.
That's the scenario 2 that I described to you. So scenario 1 is like there's one metaverse, and we all agree this is the metaverse we live in. This is the one we exchange in. There's a single currency. It's very organized. It's very mapped, but it's got 47% fees. The other scenario is the one you're describing, which is complete chaos. There's metaverses within metaverses. It's a complete nightmare.
There could be, I agree with your dichotomy. I agree with your taxonomy, but there could be, what happens if in the Facebook metaverse version of Mark Zuckerberg invents a metaverse within the metaverse? God. Where does it stop?
See, it's, you know what this makes me think of, Chris? Christina, are you listening?
I'm listening.
She's listening.
It makes me think I am about to throw my computer in a dumpster like Ron Swanson, and the three of us just need to hang out in real person life and go to games.
That's what you're talking about, like how you want to go in the opposite direction of the hype so that we can
100%.
get to a middle.
I just want to hug everybody at this point, physically. What's the opposite of this? The opposite is that the three of us just kumbaya in my living room on my rug and just like never leave each other's sight. That's the opposite.
I don't want to do coom anything on your rug.
I don't think Jessica would be happy if the three of us just like sit on the rug in the middle of the living room.
She would be there too. It would be fun.
I've got an air mattress, so
Perfect.
Didn't expect.
Yeah, dude. Adam nailed it. Look what Adam just said. He nailed it. He nailed the way I feel about this. I'm about to open up a woodworking shop, and everyone's invited. Every human is. If you can't call me, you can't text me. If you physically show up, I will be your friend.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
Ron Swanson is the antithesis of the metaverse. Go watch Parks and Rec. Ron Swanson finds out that Google Earth exists, and throws his computer into a trash can. A trash can.
Yeah, but who's the two people who are gonna like tweet where you are and what you're doing as you're trying to defeat the metaverse?
That's the beauty of the metaverse, is that I don't have to participate. I can simply not go into it and have an air mattress in my living room.
Let's not make any look. The metaverse is one of the dumbest ideas I've ever heard of to be invested at the scale that it's invested at. It's dumb. It will not succeed. I'm certain of very few things. Certainty is the antithesis of philosophy.
Oh, you're stealing my words?
I love the word antithesis. Certainty is usually something that we should not do. Philosophy in general is all about making things less certain. Okay? I don't like certainty. But I am certain that the metaverse sucks. And that the metaverse is not going to do what Zuck and crew think it's going to do.
The other argument, which was brought up in the chat, thank you, Ricky. At one time, the internet was dumb to many people. That's an argument that I'm willing to step back and be a rational thinker. The internet was taken as dumb, and it became a good thing. Is it possible for metaverse to be that? If it can become really good, fancy Zoom, yes. If the technology of it feeling immersive, that I'm in this that I'm somewhere that I'm currently not physically, that I'm actually digitally somewhere else. Let's say I'm with you guys and we're traveling together and it feels real. That is a technology I would get behind. The problem I have with it is that it's being pushed as this currency exchanging driven world as opposed to an experience. Because the thought of like VR and metaverse should be like the marketing pitch these guys should be doing is you can experience things you can't do in the physical world. I don't understand why that's not the pitch. Instead, it's gas fees and fucking NFTs. You guys are so stupid. Your marketing is terrible. Put it on the technology advancements of experiencing things you cannot do in the physical world. Done.
Yeah, 3D TVs were once, in virtual reality headsets were once rejected as well. And guess what? They're still rejected. And they're still terrible.
It's not good enough.
The internet, here's a word that all of our crypto friends will understand very well. The internet serves utility. The internet today is literally classified as a utility. Utilities companies provide it. The internet is about the storing and accessing of information that otherwise would be more difficult to access in our everyday lives. The internet is an accessory that makes life better. The metaverse is not that, except in the scenario of it being a fancy Zoom. If the internet, if a fancy Zoom makes it more efficient to have a meeting that can't be held in person, there's utility to that.
Or travel. Like if I do not want to fly to Japan, but I would like to explore Japan, if that technology exists, I will use it. I will pay for it. I will pay a company to let me travel Japan without having to fly to Japan. That is a fancy Zoom that I can get behind. It's just that the marketing is fucking terrible because the marketing of it is that it's this money-making scheme of exchange your NFTs inside this You could buy a yacht in the lake of Meta. It's like, what? I don't fucking care about whatever this like marketing scam is. I care about a technology advancement of an experience that I cannot get in the physical world. You buying that?
Yeah, I guess that argument is particularly effective on me because I don't like to fly. So the metaverse might be the only way that I do visit Japan. But
That's what I'm saying.
I don't care to visit Japan with graphics that look like NBA Live 1996.
I know. Dude, I'm 100% in agreement with me. That's why I said the 3D TV thing is rejected because it's not good enough. Like, if it literally felt like you were in Japan, you would do it. But it's not. It's not even close. NBA Live, that's a great segue into why does this look like Roller Coaster Tycoon?
Yes. Dude.
Like, so Adam said in the chat, like, you guys like who you are. I'm curious for people who want to recreate their life. Like, what they think about this. But to me, your life's not over. So, like, recreate your life today and be proud of who you are. And, like, just do things. Like, I don't understand that argument.
Metaverse or video game from 1994? You tell me.
Well, I think that he might be saying, like, you know, some people feel like they're trapped in their physical state or something. Like, they would like to be, you know, a different person or something. You know, I can't, like, speak for everybody. You know, like, your point is valid. But again, like, that's a really, really advanced technology that doesn't exist today. And so, like, we're prospecting on something that the technology cannot back up. You know, like, the technology to be somewhere else and be 100% immersive and to feel like is a complete replacement from being there physically, we're not even close to that, and we're still in Roller Coaster Tycoon phase. So let me know when the technology is there. Then I will take it seriously. That's the argument that all you crypto bros cannot come at me with. You can fight me on metaverses all you want. Let me know when the technology is ready. Then I'll fucking take you seriously. The best technology I have is my phone and Instagram Live. Till that's better, don't care.
Sorry, Metaverse bros.
I'm not impressed. I'm not impressed. I've seen the graphics. I don't understand how it's so bad. It's literally just a fancy zoom. It's like, it's not that hard.
The fancy zoom may have inadvertently killed the metaverse.
I don't know what you don't know what you've done. What have you done?
Apologies in advance.
It's because, like, that argument is so succinct and so fucking direct that there's nothing you can say against it.
And how is that not everybody's take? Like, oh, you could do this, this, and this. Oh, so it's Zoom but fancier.
And they're like, well, God damn it, you're right. And then you say, what is it? What did you say? Woohoo! You got a pretty good take on the celebrity thing. It's kind of like you're a crypto bro because you like things decentralized. You don't like the big, like, central person controlling. You don't like the celebrity controlling things. You like the masses controlling it. So you are a great candidate for the real decentralized technology.
Yep, that's my play all along. I'm hoping to suppress energy for the metaverse so that I can somehow buy something that's going to make me rich, and then it will secretly be revealed that I am the ultimate metaverse stockholder. And that I was accused of this on Clubhouse. Somebody said, "Are you just trashing Ja Morant?" By the way, don't trash.
You kind of do.
And they were like, "Are you just gonna, like, come out and just at the end of the season, you know, this grail that you've been talking about that you're going to get soon, and it's just gonna be a Ja Morant card?" And I was like, if that happens, everybody needs to block me, prevent me from coming on Clubhouse or any social media, and just ostracize me from society, please.
Oh, don't worry.
And I'll end you with my pillow.
Yes, and I'll welcome it. I will not fight it. I will just lay there and take it.
This is like okay. Last thing. Please make me move on after this. The reason I get so annoyed about this metaverse stuff is that there could be a cool technology there, but instead we're talking about spending millions of dollars on like JPEGs. I don't understand the correlation. I don't get how that matters in relation to metaverse and I don't get it. They're like, oh, blockchain technology. Then why the fuck am I worried about a JPEG of a 16 by 16 picture when we're putting Tesla is literally building rockets to send random people onto Mars, and we're talking about 16 by 16 JPEGs? I don't understand that. The technology disconnect of the Ponzi scheme, I don't understand it.
It's almost
It's a Ponzi scheme.
It's almost like, Josh, like the uber rich are trying to distract the population from something while they try to leave Earth or something. Christina's conspiracy corner.
Christina's conspiracy corner.
Christina figured it out.
I figured it out.
The wealthy want to put us all in the metaverse, and then when we're all in there, they're going to take a rocket to a different
Mars.
planet.
Yeah, that's what's going to happen.
Take their JPEGs with them and make that the new currency. It's like we've had JPEGs since like MS Paint. Like it's such an old technology. It makes no sense to me.
Yeah, I think this feels good. This feels good.
Does it?
I feel better. Can we move on?
I feel a lot better. All right.
I've shit on the metaverse so much that I want to push it to the middle and try to find something positive about it, but I'm struggling.
Where do we go from here?
Next question. So to answer the question, yes, I think you should pick the style of play and stats. I think they both.
Oh boy.
We still have 84 people, Chris. See, genuine content.
I don't know what's wrong with those people personally. You guys have been listening to this for over 2 hours. You just want it. You're just so. I think they're just so starved for anti-metaverse content, and this is the only place you can really get people hating the metaverse from a lot of different angles.
I want to play the whole. Every time David says something, I have to stop. Like the trash thing was the thing for a while. I want to make this woohoo thing the next thing. So, Christina, take that note for me.
Hey, I got it.
Can we just, I do have these bits. One of my bits is kids in the hobby.
That's a bit? That's not real?
That's one of my bits. One of my bits is these influencers have got to go. One of my new bits, I think, is just going to be these celebrities are overrated.
I think that's a great bit.
Yeah, these celebrities are so overrated. Celebrity culture is so stupid. And you know who has it the worst is the celebrity. The celebrity has a bunch of people who have nothing to do with them flocking to them because of some misplaced desire to have clout. Whether it's, I took a picture with the celebrity to impress my friends, or I got them to autograph something so I can make money, or, I got certain...
I don't like autograph cards. We figured it out.
I do not like autograph cards.
We figured it out.
No, I do not like autograph cards.
Do you like the card to stand completely on its own? You don't want any influence from the celebrity.
Dude, if I was collecting art, and granted cards are not art, but if I was collecting art, I don't want the artist to sign their name big and as the focal point in the middle of the art.
Hold on, time out. 1, cards are art. Thank you. 2, it's not even the person, like, if you are looking at art, it wouldn't be the artist signing it, it'd be the model. And that's what makes it so stupid that we're putting athlete signatures on it. So if you want to put, like Gene McLeod's signature on a fucking Grail from the 90s, okay. But, to put Jordan's on it doesn't make sense. He's just the model. He's the inspiration piece, not the actual artist. Thank you.
You're welcome.
The show is, too perfect. We just got, us two bitching and moaning, and then Christina in the back where you can't see her. It's just so good.
Because
I don't care.
Thanks, Josh.
I don't care how, arrogant that sounded. I love this show.
Oh, Christine, I feel like the timing is right to tell this. Somebody made comments on the last Instagram where they said this is so much better without Yoko Ono in the background interrupting the band.
Dude, you better run, you fucking.
That's fine.
You better run, you fucking idiot. Dude, you better run, bro. I can't protect you when you guys are here. You're fucking on your own.
I couldn't believe that comment.
That's the.
It's not on Instagram. It's on YouTube.
Can you see the steam from over there?
She is mad. That's why this is because we're gonna roll with the punches. Do you know that there's an Instagram account out there dedicated to me that has like a poop hat over a picture?
I've seen it.
Okay, all right. You know how Jeff Wilson said he never felt like he actually made it in life, even though he's rich beyond his wildest dreams and so many kids. What a wife, amazing businesses, but he just felt like he never quite made it. I have an Instagram account dedicated to me with a poop hat on my head.
You made it.
I feel like I made it.
Wait, Chris, there's something on your shoulder. Hold on. I'm worried for you. It looks like a piece of your shoulder might be missing. Is that a chip?
Huge chip, but it's gone now. Chip
good.
Off the shoulder.
Thank God. I just didn't know if you were satisfied with your life up until this point.
I don't know what I'm going to do now. I won't have any motivation. How
do you even wake up in the morning?
I don't know. I don't know how. Christina is down the YouTube comment rabbit hole. Did you find? She found it. She found it. All right, Christina, what do you have to say to that comment?
Thank you for your constructive criticism. Go fuck yourself.
Like, there's no way she ends with the constructive part.
Oh boy. Oh boy. This is really Stiff Arm Wax's fault for not deleting that comment.
That's fine.
Who are you sending?
She's probably like.
I'm sending it to myself.
She's sending it to herself.
She's emailing the video to herself.
Well, that's fine.
Well, you don't want to be the Yoko Ono to my John Lennon?
That's fine.
I have a question about the metaverse. How are we to resolve conflict vis-a-vis fights?
Death matches?
I mean, if there's no consequence of death,
die in real life.
You should.
If you get punched in the metaverse, does it feel like you got punched?
If you commit a crime in the metaverse, do you have to go to prison in real life?
If a tree falls in the metaverse,
does a bear poop in the woods?
If Will Smith slaps Chris Rock in the metaverse, does Chris Rock feel it?
Are we back in the metaverse again?
No, please go to the next question.
All right, how about this? This question brings together multiple things that I really hate.
It's like, how many NFTs do you own in the metaverse?
No, but look, I'm just joking. This is actually pretty cool. All right. Jesse J. Pender says, could you guys discuss Bubba Watson picking up a Michael Jordan rookie card? All right, so Bubba Watson is a professional golfer.
Famous one.
A very famous one. And his most recent Instagram post.
Oh, puke. Barf. Puke, barf. Barf, puke all over the screen.
It's a PSA 8 Michael Jordan.
Oh my God.
Card, all right?
Yeah, but wait. Show the comment that he put on it.
A rare gem or something.
He said going up in value in the metaverse.
No, he says #kid dreams, which is like the whole nostalgic thing we were talking about, where like people are coming back as collectors to get those cards that they wanted as children. So like,
don't you think he could have afforded a little better than a PSA 8?
Maybe.
Well, no,
maybe that's why he got the PSA 8, because he was like, this is a pumped card. I'm not gonna waste my money. I'll buy the like.
Yeah, you got a point.
It's okay. You got to start somewhere. You know, like, I'm not gonna. I hope he continues his journey and finds far more interesting cards.
Yeah, but what do we have to say? Here another celebrity enters the hobby. and starts with the 86 Fleer. I haven't heard about a celebrity buying the 86 Fleer since the PSA 10s went from 700 to 250K.
I am like, you're kind of convincing me that I don't care anymore about the celebrities.
Dude, these celebrities are overrated. I'm still ironing out this bit. There will be a few more pieces to it. Like
the kid, what are you, like an SNL cast member?
The kid bit has like multiple wrinkles to it, right? I could riff about kids in the hobby for like 2, 3, 4 minutes. Same thing on these influencers. With the celebrities, it's just there's really not a lot of substance. It's just like celebrities are overrated. Just
Can I give you a counter?
Mm-hmm.
And David talks about this to us a lot. He brought it up in the comments. We have to be careful, though, not to, like, shame the celebrities into, like, leaving. Like, we also have to kind of – we almost have to, like, treat them like a regular collector and be like, yeah, that's cool.
Yes.
What are you looking for next? Where's the next step? How can we help you, guide you?
Exactly.
And not laugh them away, not demand their attention where they get scared away, not, suck their balls too much where they get scared away. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You mean every – hobby cloud-seeking influencer account shouldn't make 10 pieces of content every day for a week straight about
yeah. No, I know. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like people like you and I making fun of them for buying lame cards. Like just trying to be in the middle here. How do people like you and I help them move up or move on?
Yeah, well, look, we're just firing off all the spiciest takes, but I'm not let us not build a consensus around the idea that the 86 Fleer set is lame because like there's a lot of people who love that set. Okay.
No, of course.
All right. But dude, the way Shine interacted with Drake was perfect. I thought if anybody would like to see how to interact with a celebrity on a hobby level, I thought the way Shine did it was very tasteful.
Yeah.
So there's a decent way to go about it. And dude, I agree. Dude, there are so many there have been celebrities in the hobby forever, but they don't try to use their celebrity to gain advantage in the hobby. In fact, they actively hide it. So like there's a lot of guys over the years who have fun eBay stories of certain celebrities who have bought cards off of them on eBay. Like there's one story on Blood, like the prince of some Western European country like has been buying cards for years. The prince, okay? The prince.
Michael Scott scam, but okay.
I don't know. But like for many celebrities, they don't want their celebrity leaked out. They just want to collect cards and be another collector just the same as anybody else. Yeah. And that's the way that they would desire to be treated. And in this world, treating people the way they want to be treated is generally a pretty good rule of thumb.
Yeah, I just wanted to we're just building up all this momentum of making fun of stuff, and I just wanted to pull it back a little bit and make sure that we're aware that we should just be treating the celebrity coming in as another potential person entering the hobby, and we should send them through the same orientation that we do everyone else, which is education of the hobby, trying to find the things that they enjoy organically, point them in the direction of the proper people in the hobby, the people who are going to actually teach them, how to find the cards they want versus, the pump and dump bullshit. It's the same stuff. It's the same. We apply it the same to the celebrities as we would, One of my favorite examples is MK Sports Cards Mike. When he came in, I feel like we really built a really firm foundation for him to continue on. And he's just a great example of, if you do it right, he's someone that, and I'm not taking credit for catapulting him into what he's done at all. I'm just using the example of if you can play a small percentage role in someone building up to being this really great asset in the hobby long term, whatever you can do, whatever small piece you can do, whatever person you can point them to or card you can help them find, I think that all adds up pretty significantly over time.
Yeah, it does. And it's worth noting too that this hobby is not easy. It's very hard,
right,
and it's complicated, right, and you have to be smart to do it well, which is something that I take for granted sometimes. We were talking earlier today, how name a card that you bought that wasn't on your list of cards to buy, but it showed up and you bought it anyway. And then the answer back was you really should know about all the relevant cards that you could possibly be interested in buying so that you're ready to go if one pops up. That's a lot of knowledge. Like, let's just say somebody wanted to collect cards of Peyton Manning, I guess, because people love to write questions about Peyton Manning. Like, you need to understand all the 1998 football rookie cards. You need to understand all the products. You need to understand, how the autograph grades are tough on some of those, and what's Topps Chrome? How is that distinguished from Topps? And does he have PMGs? And yes, he does have PMGs. And then go through and understand the whole menu of Peyton Manning cards. And like Peyton Manning, like Kobe, has cards in all the eras. He has 90s, he has 2000s, he has Panini era, he has all this stuff. So like, let me just mention this question now because it came in from our friend Northwoods Collector. He said there was a recent golden sale for a Peyton Manning 1-of-1 exquisite shield. So Peyton has exquisite as well, on-card patch autograph for $29,000. Do you think something like this is due to a movement of game-used shield patches or possibly Hall of Famers being more sought after? I feel like this is an important sale for each of those categories. And as a Peyton collector, I was surprised but love to see it. Okay, so like this is a great example. I'm not a Peyton collector. I didn't know that card existed, but every Peyton collector should know that a card like that exists.
Yeah, that card did really well because it was very, very unique and it stood out in the Golden Run. Like, even I saw it and was like, dang, that's kind of cool. Like, I didn't know that card existed. It looks really cool. It's a 1-of-1. It's a shield. Peyton Manning's on the tip of my mind right now because of all the mint stuff. And it's like,
here's the card.
This card should do really well. And it's exquisite. Like, it just hits on so many different layers. And his auto is really cool. I thought the auto placement on that, I know you don't like it over the player, but I think that one looks kind of cool.
It does look good. The whole card is gorgeous. And the way the blue ink and the blue, like, looks like foil surrounding the shield, and then the blue in the shield and the blue stripes on his jersey. It just, the aesthetic of this card is tremendous. Yeah, this is an amazing card.
That one is like the Joel Embiid NTRPA example earlier tonight where I'm like, I don't, like for $30,000 or whatever, it's a cool card. I wouldn't hate if I owned that. It makes sense. Like, market, supply, demand. I get it. It's a cool card.
Yeah. Yeah. So it takes a while to learn everything you need to know. And we
do take it for granted. It's hard.
We take it for granted. And who wants to spend all the time to learn it? You really have to be disciplined and do it.
But that's the people I want in the hobby, Chris.
Yeah.
Like, the people that we need in the hobby, that we want in the hobby, it's not necessarily an entrance of how much money you have. I think it's more of like how much of a yearning, a desire do you have to like become obsessed with it. Those are the people that just like, I just keep going back to Mike MK Sports Cards. Like, that type of person is the one that builds their own tree of people they got in the hobby, and it just like infinitely expands the hobby outward. Is that person. It's not the person who just has a lot of money and wants to invest and like get a piece of the pie. It's the person who's willing to like obsess over it and grow their own network,
Well said. How excited are you that the NBA playoffs are starting and the Suns are about to embark on probably a finals run? Are you fired up about this?
Excited is not the word. It's nervous and anxious. And Christina's nodding her head. I'm not a stats fan. I'm a the refs are fucking me fan, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah.
When it comes to fandom, like when we remove the stats and the cards and the values, and especially specifically the Suns, I'm gonna turn into the screaming at the TV guy, and I have to sit in a certain place in the chair guy. Like, that's sports. That's what's so great about it. Like, you think I'm this logical, mathematical, statistical guy, but when the Suns are on, it's like, no, I'm a nightmare. Don't watch me.
I don't think we're gonna ever get any more engagement from Christina. Are you there, Christina?
Yeah, I'm fucking here. The thing is, I'm not fucking Yoko Ono, bitch. I'm the fucking bandmate.
You fucked up.
Buzzy and a boot can go fuck themselves together. Yeah.
No, you are obviously a bandmate, but in the context of this show,
I baited her into a really great point for her to make. Come on, help me out.
Yeah. Plus, you need to get a little smoke as well. Josh and I get a lot of smoke. All right? We take a lot of heat. We get a lot of people.
Believe me, between the three of us, I take enough smoke. It's just it's not public all the time, okay?
Oh, it's public.
So,
it's public sometimes.
Yeah, like
Hey, Rodman says somebody should make an NFT out of that YouTube comment.
and donate none of it to charity.
Somebody should mint that. You should make that comment your profile picture. I don't know. But look, first of all, that comment only applies to the crossover. Maybe if you came over and showed your face a little more often.
That's it's fine. Like, people are intimidated by strong, independent women who can kick their asses. It's totally fine.
Yes.
Wait, are you a woman of the hobby?
Oh my God, I am.
Okay, no.
Oh my God, you're one of the. Okay,
We're
sorry.
not doing this bit.
I'm sorry. The world's not ready.
As they say.
Okay, Mr. Kid Illuminati.
Dude, all right, fine. Do the bit. Do the bit.
No, I'm not doing the bit. There's no way that it's only that's an inside joke with me and Christina. I cannot do that bit. There's no chance.
So,
Hey, Josh, can I ask you a question right now? Am I brave?
Oh my God, it's like I'm tearing up. Do you guys remember the Office episode where Jim gets jinxed and he can't talk?
yes.
That's me right now. When they're like, Pam's like, I know Jim has this amazing story about a relative that got caught up, and he stands up and he's like,
Yep.
that's me right now.
Nice.
That's fine.
All right. There was one question I want to make sure we addressed. There's actually 3 questions about this, about the Marks cards thing. So, Long Island Sports says, being a California educated practitioner of law, I don't practice law, but I did study it. Thoughts on the Marks or PSA nightmare? Underdog Card says, what do we think about the latest Marks news? It seems really bad for the hobby. And Joshua's card says, what are the possible outcomes of the Marks cards bankruptcy court ruling? So first of all, first things first, I do have a little bit of background in this because I did spend one summer externing for a federal bankruptcy court. And in fact, it's the exact same court that's hearing this case. And the judge who was originally assigned to this case was the judge I worked for. So, but she no longer is working on this case. But so somebody, actually Lucky Show, sent me the dockets for this case, and the most recent filing on the docket was the trustee. A trustee is assigned to every bankruptcy estate to help get the affairs of the estate in order, and sometimes to represent the interests of the estate and or other interests that are at play in a bankruptcy proceeding. And the trustee determined that the Marks estate has no assets. All right? So if the Marks estate has no assets, then what that means is these cards that PSA has presumably are not assets. They're not, the court is not going to treat them as assets of the Marks estate, which is obviously very important, because if those were in some crazy world to be seen as assets of Marks, which they're not, they are not assets of Marks, but if they were in some crazy world to be seen as assets of Marks's, then they could be liquidated to then pay off Marks's creditors. All right, so but these are clearly not assets of Marks's. And if you read the email that Jackie Curiel sent out to everybody, what the court instructed PSA to do was, it says file the motion separately, meaning that there was probably some level of procedural error that took place rather than substantive. All right, so a lot of people blew this way out of proportion, in my opinion. There's a lot of things we don't know, but it would be lunacy if, in the precedent that it would set, even if it's an informal precedent, because there probably won't be any written rulings in this case, the informal precedent of a court treating these assets of Marx's, treating these cards as assets of Marx, that would be a terrible precedent, because it would lead to the idea that cards that are stored in a vault are assets of the vaults rather than assets of the people who own them. So that's a very scary thought, but there's no basis for that. There's no basis for thinking that, right? So, like, long story short, TLDR, bottom line, is that the court did not say that these cards are assets belonging to Marks. All the court said was PSA, the procedural motion that you filed, you need to do it in a different way. That's what they said. All right, so let's just talk about that. Do you have any questions or comments on the state of the Marks thing?
Definitely no comments, but thank you for clarifying, because I was confused as well. I mean, I read the part where it's like, oh, we suggest that PSA do it a different way. I was like, what does that mean? So now you've clarified.
Yes. All right. Just wanted to touch on that question here halfway through.
We need the lawyer Hoj. The lawyer Hoj is here to stay.
Lawyer fucking Hoj. Lawyer Hoj who never actually was a lawyer. All right.
That's because you were building a fucking successful hobby company.
I'm at peace with my decisions. Okay.
I'm also at peace because it benefited me greatly, so thank you.
Yeah. Look, studying to be a lawyer was a lot of fun. Actually becoming a lawyer didn't seem all that great anyway.
You were at a crossroads.
Yeah. Exactly.
Great song, by the way.
Oh, my favorite song as a kid.
Is it really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Why?
Nice.
This is a great question. Why do the courts speak language from 300 years ago? Because courts, the logic of court proceedings is constantly building on things that happened before. Everything that happens in court is supposed to be grounded in precedent. It's supposed to be grounded in something that happened before. Courts are not supposed to do new things. They're supposed to apply the law to new fact patterns, relying on how it had previously been applied. So courts, by their very nature, are extremely conservative. The logic of the legal system is conservative. So that's why everything feels so old, because they don't change anything. They don't want to change anything. They take their comfort. Their authority is derived from precedents.
So they're like the vintage baseball of the hobby.
Yeah. That's how we need to understand it. Upstate Sports Card says, when will football PMGs get close to the hobby love that basketball PMGs get? Only discussing the true ones, not the Fleer retros. So guess what? This is why Card Ladder is a pretty neat product. Because if you were to go search Jerry Rice PMG, you would see that the 1998 Jerry Rice Precious Metal Gems PSA 8.5 sold for $30,000 in a private sale. That means you're not going to get this data anywhere else but Card Ladder, which vets all of its sales on April 1st. $30,000. This private sale was reported. Jerry Rice, PMG, or in basketball we call this one the PMG Championship from 1997, but in football is from 1998. They're both numbered to 50. It sold for $30,000. All right? That's getting close to basketball prices, my friends.
Also, I'm gonna make this take that, like, there's a lot of disrespect on basketball lately. Like, basketball, you guys are riding the backs of what basketball has built over the last 5 years. Basketball is the sport and the piece of the hobby that has catapulted us to this point over the last 5 years. And yes, it's been flat over the last year. We're just giving you guys a turn. Football, you can have a turn. Fucking Marvel, you get a turn. Baseball, you can all ride our backs. Basketball is what started this whole thing. Don't disrespect basketball. That's the whole foundation of this hobby, in my opinion. And if you want to start saying football is going to get the rise and PMGs, baseball, PMGs are going to catch up, if that happens, then I'm going to start saying basketball PMGs are undervalued.
Boom. Absolutely.
I will say that baseball PMGs are some of the nicer looking cards from the 90s, including basketball.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I really like the quarterback PMGs, like the Brett Favre, John Elway, Peyton Manning. That stuff is really cool to me, because it's like we put the quarterbacks on such a high pedestal now, and they made the PMGs of all the players. Then right now you've got like the PMGs of Barry Sanders and Jerry Rice, but there's also like elite quarterbacks that existed and played back then. So that's kind of an interesting little.
Yeah, I love that. Love that. And
talk about the Ken Griffey one.
Yeah,
because you talked about it on FCN Sports Card Nonsense, and
let's talk about the Ken Griffey PMG explosion. So, dear chat, all of you lunatics who are awake at 2:30 a.m. Eastern watching this, what do you think this card sold for last weekend?
45K.
Josh is right. It sold for 46.8. All right.
I listened to that episode. I pay attention.
You are 100% right. $46,800 for this Ken Griffey 1998 Metal Universe PMG. All right.
Finally getting it through. God damn it.
Now let me compare that to the Kobe. From
144 for the BGS 9. Yep.
So the Kobe BGS 8.5, which is a beautiful card. The last time that card sold was it did 94 grand in May, and then a month later in June it did 59. And the card ladder value estimates is 50, which is probably low because the BGS 9 just sold for 112 or something last weekend. All right, but I'm bringing up the Kobe to point out that Ken Griffey's prices are rapidly approaching parity with Kobe. Okay, so here this sold last weekend with gold in 144 grand for this Kobe BGS 9 PMG champ. All right, and then the PSA 8 sold for 133. Wow, in February. All right, so look, the Griffey is closing the gap. Griffey is closing the gap on these basketball PMGs, and it's happening in football too. We just showed you the Jerry Rice, but I'm with Josh completely. Do not forget, dance with the one who brought you. You ever heard that? Basketball is what got these grails to where they are. Basketball will always be the original grails. Remember all those theories we used to have about why basketball is better? The player's face is not obstructed by a helmet. Yeah. What happened to all those theories, huh? We just forget those now?
Can I make another short rant?
Let's go.
The little part of it that you showed where like the PMG of the Kobe went from 94 to 58 or something, right? And it's like there's this subgroup of people in the hobby, I won't name names as always, who no matter what the price is at, no matter what the trend of the last year is, they'll say it's undervalued and it's something that will always go up and right. And that specific card right there is a great example of someone that's like, PMGs, it's untouchable. It's Kobe, it's 90s. That card is just untouchable. It'll go up forever. Yet somehow that card went from 94,000 to 58. And the point I'm trying to make, the small rant is that like, if something goes up too fast, in too quick of a time, it doesn't matter what it is. Michael Jordan green PMG, doesn't matter. No one can escape this. If it goes up too far, too fast, because of inorganic pump, it will go down. And that's my rant. I feel like it's happening with Steph Curry. I'm going to stop there because it's going to make people mad. I feel like it's happening with Steph Curry. And people are going to be like, oh, Steph Curry is this amazing shooter, records, he's a great fan. He's got amazing fan base. It happened with Kobe. People pumped that stuff way too fast. Hall of Fame came out. People went nuts. His market went way down. Has nothing to do with the player or their fan base. It's just that you got to be careful about stuff going up super fast in a short amount of time, no matter what it is. Rant over.
Love that rant. You mentioned Curry. This is a question for all the Steph Curry fans, all the Steph Curry collectors who are in the chat, who might not be in the chat, but who watch this later. And I'm doing this in particular for two people. I'm doing this for the 615 collector who asked, please don't talk about Jokic. And then the card collector 1427 who said Jokic is hashtag not my MVP, hashtag first round exit. You want a narrative for this Warriors-Nuggets series? Here it is. This is a trivia question, prize to anybody who gets it right. Does Steph Curry or Nikola Jokic, which one of those two has more MVPs. You can include regular season. You can include finals. Steph Curry's got 3 championships. So who has more MVPs, Steph Curry or Nikola Jokic? What's the answer?
They're tied.
Oh, Christina spoiled it for all you guys. They are, in fact, tied. Nikola Jokic and Steph Curry have the same number of MVPs. That's just, we were talking about stats and numbers earlier. That's a stat and a number that I like a lot.
Jokic hasn't won it yet. They're not tied.
Oh, he has won it. Do you remember?
Oh, no, he hasn't. Not yet, bro.
He has won it. This is like, but we should be careful because a lot of people had a rude awakening in 2016 in November when all those election results were coming in, and the New York Times was showing that Hillary Clinton was going to win that election, and then all of a sudden that little meter started going like this, and it started going like this.
Yeah, not yet.
Oh,
not yet.
And it was very traumatic for many people. And so us Jokic collectors, we should avoid trauma. But there's been like 51 of the 100 ballots have been submitted, and Jokic is in first place on like 35 of them. It would be a miracle of all miracles. It would be a statistical anomaly against all statistical anomalies for, at this point in time, Jokic to not win his MVP.
Yeah, that's fine. You can celebrate. I was joking. I was just making the point that I heard you while I was stepping away to go to the bathroom. Curry and Kobe have amazing fan bases. They've got probably the most collectors per capita in the entire hobby. They deserve all the flowers. I'm just cautioning you slightly as a very biased statistical analyst fan. Those two guys get very overhyped and then pumped, and then all of a sudden it corrects because they just don't have as much credentials as some of the guys above them.
Yeah.
Done.
Saw you slide Kobe in there.
Because they're similar. It's the same. The people who root for Kobe generally root for Curry. It's a very similar fan base.
Yeah, I suppose that's right.
I'm going to get DMs about this. It's fine. Just bring it on.
Damn, we have so many rants. I had another rant.
I mean, why not? I mean, it's like...
That's what the people want. Let's just cut out the garbage and just get to the rants.
Well, I mean, if you look back at this very episode, we took a week off. A shit ton of, stuff that we feel like ranting about has come up. We can dance on graves. So, I'm feeling it. Let's just keep going.
I'm feeling it, too. We're going to complete an hour 3 for all you people out there who missed us last week.
We are the Curry of the hobby. We've got fans that don't really make sense. We don't have the stats to back it up, but the fans are there.
Damn, I had such a rant, too. It was, I've lost it. All right.
Kobe, Metaverse, NFTs, shitty influencers, content that's shit, and media, John Morant.
Whatever. Just don't get me started on these kids in this hobby.
That's the only... Okay, I'm going to just categorize that as a bit, and I will leave it. It's not more than a bit. It's a monologue. It's a SNL skit.
This is a funny one. This came from BCW Card Breaks. He says, so I go to the Mints Collective and I get a free NFT from Panini America. Then you recommend the Locked On NBA podcast, and I listened to the Bucks one, which also gave me a free NFT today. Is there some sort of conspiracy going on here? I feel like I'm being punked.
You got to answer that one, bro.
Look, we've done our best to conceal it, but we are actually huge advocates of the NFT space.
Did you finish that Neo clip?
Yeah, I did watch it a little because you said go back because the best part comes next. And then, it was him just being like, oh, actually, I don't know much about this. Let me tag in this nerd.
It was so perfect. It was so perfect. There was a clip of Howard Stern just, shitting on NFTs because he didn't understand it. And he was like, this doesn't make sense to me. And then Neo, who's, invested in it and has his own NFTs, of course, because he's a celebrity, was like, they asked him about it. They're like, well, okay, then, what's good about it? And he was like, well, I actually don't know anything about it. So it was just he is so perfect. The people who are like, oh, you need to educate yourself. You need to learn more about it. And you're just an idiot that doesn't understand it. They don't even know anything about it.
Unfortunate. Okay, Mr. Archer said he just wants to shout out Brian at Cajun Cardboard. He's making quality content. There you
go.
There you go, Brian. Shout out for you. Ooh.
Shout out Brian also. He sent us t-shirts.
Brian did send Cajun Cardboard t-shirts. Do you have one?
Yeah, I do. It's right here.
These are the perks of being in with these content creators.
Been making like educational set type content, right? About like educating about specific sets and cards and.
Yes, he is.
That's the stuff you're talking about, right? That's what you want to see more of?
Look, I really don't care what we see more of. I just want to hate on things.
Oh my god. You better not break that secret that you don't even, like, you want more bad content so that you have more content to shit on it.
Yes. It's a wonderful balance. You know, for so much of my life, I was the guy who was the first, who just wanted to be the first one and just didn't understand why everybody hates. And now I'm the second guy. Now I'm the guy who's hating on the first guy. And let me tell you, it's a lot more fun.
You are SNL during the Trump administration. You just, like, it gives you infinite content. It's better for your ratings and your numbers, but apparently you want them gone.
I don't know. It's complicated. It's a very complicated relationship.
It's, you know what I mean? SNL for Trump. That's you.
It's a good analogy. It's complicated. All right.
I'm here for the analogies.
Yeah. So, but shout out to Brian making smart content and great collector and successful lawyer who takes the time out of his day to do hobby content, even though very successful in other avenues of his life.
I'll leave this bit. Lawyer Illuminati, you fucking guys come in here, all of you, and you say your fancy words, and you try to confuse us. You talk about Mark's cards like you know what you're talking about, and I think the lawyers in this hobby are the ones ruining it for everybody else.
I would love it nothing more if there was a lawyer Illuminati, but I'm gonna need them. I'm gonna need them to let me in. Okay, let me in. I just want access to these pump and dump schemes. I just want to get involved first. That's really what.
You know how like a bunch of people say a word and you have to pretend like you know what it means because it's gone on too long. What is Illuminati?
Illuminati is like a pop culture code word for a secret society of powerful people who meet behind the scenes and orchestrate influential activities.
I had to get. I was like, we keep saying it. I don't know what it means.
Why didn't you just Google it?
No, because I'm on my phone. I don't want to. I literally can't interact with the internet while I'm on this live.
Let this man admit he lived for 33 years without knowing what the Illuminati is. Can we just let him admit that?
Or he's just trying to make it seem like he doesn't know what the Illuminati is.
Some 3D chess here.
That's what's that like when you humble brag kind of thing?
Yes, a humble brag. Nick, do you see the text that Nick just sent? Tell him to come on. Or I guess you don't need to.
Please.
You're probably watching this.
I'm begging for Nick to be on this live right now.
Let's go, Nick.
Let's pop his cherry.
Okay. While we...
He's coming into the lion's den, though.
All right, look. Miami Cards 84 says, this is for you.
Oh.
We're the Lakers and not the Heat, the true bubble frauds. That's from Miami Cards 84.
It's like, okay. Stop laughing,
Let's
fucking
go.
guy. There's a little bit to that. If it wasn't in the bubble, would they have won the championship? That's the question, right? Would they have been the champions? I don't know. I don't think anyone knows. I think it really comes down to Anthony Davis's health and his peakness of that year. Anthony Davis was clearly the X factor. LeBron has been this consistent thing through all these 4 years, in my opinion. And he's had some injuries more than other years, some years more than others, and that was the year he had the least amount of injuries. But he's always been the same numbers, same PER. It's very consistent. When Anthony Davis is playing like the best center in the NBA, they win the championship, and when he's not, they're really bad. So it just kind of proves you definitely need that second guy to help you. So to me, it's really their struggles are really more of like an indictment on how bad Anthony Davis has been. And like he outplayed Jokic in that bubble, and Jokic has become this like PER monster and 2-time MVP, and Davis has gone the other way. That's kind of my little. Davis could have been better than Jokic, talent-wise and skill-wise and ability. Instead, he's gone the other way, and Jokic has improved.
Anthony Davis was never going to have a season as good as Jokic is having this year, but he definitely outplayed him in the bubble. Remember, it was a debate, Anthony Davis versus Giannis, who's the better player. That was
right.
a live debate.
Now it's a joke.
For now, but dude, if Anthony Davis plays a season at full health, he's going to be right there, top 6, top 5 player.
He's 29. So, I mean, dude, this is how bad the media is. I watched an interview with Colin Cowherd and Meta World Peace, and Meta World Peace said that Anthony Davis is only 27. He's got so much ahead of him. He's 29. He got his age wrong.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, why are we still having Meta World Peace analyze basketball? He's 29. I don't know. There's not much time left for him to figure it out.
Stephen A. Smith, when commenting on the Hawks game today, was not aware that John Collins is out.
It's just embarrassing. Honestly, I'm on your side now. I like that you helped me organize my thought on. It's an easy argument. If it's easy, then I'm going to go harder on it. It's so easy. Like you're like factually wrong. It's factually wrong. There's nothing for me to argue. You're just wrong.
Yes, catch the oop and dunk it. Like these guys are giving us alley oops, and we don't want to dunk the ball. Why?
Kendrick Perkins is the worst defender. He's always wrong. He's like embarrassing.
Kendrick Perkins. We should invite him onto this live.
Who's coming on the live? Nick?
Yeah, let me invite Nick onto this live because he has mail days that he would like to show, and he should show these. These are awesome mail days. All right, send him an invitation. We'll end this show with a bang.
Dude, people in the industry also don't like Stephen A. By the way.
Yeah, I can see why. Oh no,
I've heard I saw like a Michelle Beadle. Do you remember her?
Oh yeah.
I saw a Michelle Beadle interview. She's very candid, by the way. It's enjoyable. She was just shitting on Stephen A. Like, she was like, he's the worst. Everyone hates him.
Yeah, I liked her when she was with the network, but the piece of content that ESPN does that is halfway decent is their gambling show. Because there's no room for BS and narrative when they discuss wagering. They just have to say things that are intelligent, and they hold each other accountable, and they pay the price of their money.
Fantasy is similar.
Fantasy is fantasy culture has been the best thing for NFL content. Period. It reorients things into statistical analysis. Results are measurable. There are winners and losers. It's great.
And people can point to people and hold them accountable to their terrible picks. Matthew Berry has survived all these years because he's like completely rooted in data, and he's using historical data to figure out like where he thinks it's going next. So you can't really get too mad at him on his like future predictions when he's rooting it in data. And he's just like a perfect example of what you're talking about, where fantasy football has just like completely changed the game and content.
Yeah, it has, which is awesome. And the NBA needs some sort of revolution. The NBA as well, like just from like a spectator point of view, like a fan point of view, it's so small compared to football. Like, to me, they need to blow the whole thing up. The thing that makes sports popular is the drama, the narrative drama. The thing that makes sports popular, is the narrative, right? Okay, it's the narrative, and it's the drama, and it's the theater, it's the spectacle,
unscripted drama.
It's the storyline. It's great drama if you know all the key players and it means something to you. The NBA does a terrible job of telling its stories. The whole media structure, with the exception of Adam Lefkoe, needs to be blown up and then start over from scratch. And let's try to tell compelling theater, Shakespearean drama, which the NBA is. Let's try and tell that story in a way that's devoid of bias, that's devoid of gatekeeping, and that focuses on the truly marketable, the truly transcendent storylines that are happening in the NBA every year, every season, every month. They're out there. But with the current people, the current power structure, it ain't going to happen. And you know what? This got people so riled up about their cards. I'll put it in context for NBA players, NBA owners to understand. You guys are losing money. You guys are missing out on billions of dollars every year because your media structure is not properly telling the story and engaging audiences with your content. But you guys already make hundreds of millions, so maybe you're just happy where you are, but you're losing billions of dollars because your media is not properly telling narratives.
People think that you don't like Joel Embiid because you want Jokic to beat him in the MVP, but you gave that whole spiel on how the Joel Embiid narrative changed your mindset on how you
completely
see him, and you wanted more of that content.
Yeah. Bill Simmons is the only person who actually told Joel Embiid's story in a compelling fashion. And he did it for 15 minutes on a podcast. Oh!
Yes.
What's going on?
What's up,
Skip?
So, my first mail day is
Bowls.
Let's go. The custom. I had to make order a custom bowl since they don't create those yet. But they will, and it'll be the highest selling once they do create it. But no, for real, here's the mail day. And to match, I was listening earlier, and to match what Chris loves, this is a gold on sticker auto, his favorites. And by the way, I need to preface this. I'm a Illinois guy, obviously, Bears, Bulls, etc. But I wasn't around for the rivalry with the Packers. Like, there's still a rivalry, but, I've seen the 85 documentary and how Jim McMahon was hit and all the dirty plays. Nowadays, I just respect greatness, and I think this guy's great. So I have to do that before I show Aaron Rodgers gold. It's a PSA 9 autograph gold X Fractor out of $3.99.
That's a great card. Holy shit.
So I don't really have a good light in here, but
yeah, we can see it.
So there's that puppy. And then I'll show off a couple. I mean, I have like some stacks over there, but I'm saving. I haven't posted really anything ever on Instagram, and I just started kind of redoing it again. I used to do it sometimes. And then I don't really know anything about this brand, but I also collect Bartolo Cologne. This is a one of one gold Futura. I don't know. I saw it on eBay, and I saw it was a 1 of 1. So I required it in my possession.
Nice.
So he's just a great character. And then just for fun, I'll show off one other.
Show some of them Prism Golds.
Well, here's a gold National Treasures Tom Brady out of 35. Since, you can't get his rookie stuff. I can't afford any of the rookie stuff. But I appreciate the storyline of the 2020 year of his kind of what he did. And I made kind of an Instagram post about it with his gold select 2020 that I have. His rookie bucks, if you will. But I can't show some of the golds because I'm going after 2 wide receivers that I've been scooping like all their stuff.
He's been buying football in the offseason, Josh.
Yeah.
That's smart. He's paying attention. Nick, now that we have you, give the people a behind the scenes of that documentary. Just kind of like walk us through like your perspective of it and sort of like how you were able to, or how did you like choose who to be in it, and how did you kind of take it all in while you were filming?
Okay, well, there's kind of an interesting story where originally the plan was, we're talking like 2 days before I drove out there to film the panels. That was like like I brought 6 cameras for like a wide shot, the close. I knew how many people were in each panels, and I wasn't going to film every panel, but the ones Card Ladder was in. And then we found out kind of last minute, like, okay, the hotel MGM is going to be filming it. And so then I was like, okay, so what's my plan now? And the national stuff, which I really enjoyed doing, kind of took a while to come out, and you kind of miss the boom, just like this did. It took like 2 weeks. So I wasn't sure exactly what we were going to create, but then getting out there and just filming, what happens in my brain is it's just a bunch of puzzle pieces that I'm acquiring, but I don't know what the finished picture is yet. So like I've started filming the panels, and then I'm like, okay, I'm already editing it in my head, what we can use and what we can't. And then seeing the floor space or the marketplace and filming around there. It was actually G who came up to me. And when I saw him there and I started recognizing people while I had the camera, and I was like, oh, I want to get an interview with you. And I was like, I'll get you tomorrow. And then he's like, well, I'm leaving in a couple hours. And so immediately I was like, okay, or not in a couple hours, maybe the next day, whatever it was. But I was like, okay, I have to film you now. And I'm kind of going all over the place here, but that actually happened to a few people where I saw Roland with FD. I wanted to get an interview with him. I told, and then he was like, you'd be back here, right? At the panel or at our booth. I was like, yeah, I'll be back. And I had no idea when I'd be back, though, because it just becomes a cluster of what's going on. And the same thing with the sports card nonsense guys. I mean, they were at our booth, and I told them twice. I'm like, I'm coming back to interview you guys, and I couldn't. So those are promises for the national or whatever. I'm going to, because, yeah, I'm kind of scatterbrained right now. But, yeah, I would try and then it kind of came down to people I knew okay, I'm got to get Jeremy. I got to get Joe, Beantown Hobby, seeing him at the National and here. Like people that I'm just friendly with via you guys. You guys,
David
Josh
Owens,
and Chris and
D.O.
Christina, like, well, real quick, you guys, like, bring me into this via Card Ladder, and you guys already know, like, everybody. And so then they're friendly to me, and I'm like, oh, what do you do? And okay, let's get you on here. That's another thing, though, real quick, is Rodman. Like, Rodman at the National and here. Like, I'll film him doing stuff, and I won't even, because so much is going on in my head, I'm already trying to edit it, that then I'm like, why didn't I get an interview with him? And then I'm like, it's just like a scatterbrain, like, thing that, but I've talked to him in DMs, like, I'm definitely interviewing you at the National. But anyways, then once you get all that stuff, then you got, because it's only possible based off what I capture.
You better interview.
Because I try not to. Yeah, there he was.
You better interview Rob, or you're gonna have problems.
But like, it's only based off what you guys do. So like in the, I called it like a podcast that we filmed. It was like an hour long, and then it's all derived off of your personalities and trying to like make those pop even more with like the humor parts and including that, and then reshaping it to like, okay, listen, because on the car ride back it was great where I just listened like nonstop, and then to the audio from the podcast, and I was like, okay, I can cut this, and then you're thinking of the interviews, and it really works when it's fresh. Like I just got done filming the stuff, so it's all already in my head, and then I go, okay, I cut to this, then I cut here, then I cut there, and then just trying to find it to where it like meshes the best, and just trying to get there wasn't really like a full goal. It's just trying to get the best, most like epic, cool thing when it's all done. That, you know, and then and all that stuff with like the intro and even the credit stuff. That's all based off like loving HBO Sports, like Hard Knocks. They do like the following is this presentation from HBO Sports. I'm like, I like that. We should do that for Card Ladder. And so it's just, and the credits are even the same, how they like come up on half the screen, and But anyways, yeah, I'm kind of all over the place. But I do want to say, everybody that's reached out in DMs and stuff or tag me in stories, I don't really like sharing it because I just, whatever. I don't really like. I appreciate it, but I don't like really being a center of attention for stuff. But I appreciate it a lot. But like, if people wonder why I don't like reshare stories when it's just.
Because he hates you.
Yeah, I was wondering why you didn't reshare my story.
Yeah, mine too.
Whoa, Yoko.
Wait, can we hit my favorite?
Hey, well, hold on, though. Christina, look at some of the other comments. There's one.
I know who Buzzy is.
I didn't hear what you said, but there's one whole comment on there just completely eviscerating me. And I'm like, that's cool. Like, it's whatever.
Chris, can we hit on my favorite subplot of the entire Mint Collective? And that is, are Chris and Nick the same person? Is one of them the stunt double of the other? Who is actually Chris? Who's the cameraman? Which one's the personality? Who is who? Can we even tell? Yeah, did that was like the funniest subplot of the whole show. Like, wait a minute. People are like, oh, fuck. Which one is which?
Yeah, Luber said that, like, he's like, you guys look identical. And he's like, me and my brother look the same. But he's like, but you guys look identical. And yeah, and again, shout out to like everybody who, like, Joe, that's freaking out. Shout out to everybody that like let me even put, because I get weary if somebody wants to film me because I don't know what they're going to use it for. So I'm aware of that. I try and put myself in people's shoes and just be like, but with all that stuff. So just thanks, obviously, to you guys that just let me put the camera in your face. But like even all the interview people, like Corey, all those guys, and everybody's just so nice. And that's all through, I think, the association with you guys, and they know you guys, and then they know that you mess with me, so then they're or they think I'm Chris, like that happened.
I was gonna say,
that's probably it, actually.
Is that Chris?
That could be a mixed bag.
It's just awesome that in the community suite, and then that I get that vibe from everybody, and I'm like, that's what I want to translate. Like that's why the music needs to be like this, it needs to have the feelings of just like how we all kind of see the hobby. It's like, it's epic, it's fun, it's cool. Like make it so that if somebody knows nothing about the hobby and they click on one of the videos, they're just like, wow, I want to go to something like that. So, and I hopefully it does stuff like that. So, yeah.
All right.
But yeah, that's it. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks for coming on. Unfortunately, we're only able to ask you 2 questions, and you spoke for 15 minutes.
See, which one are we?
So he's like,
he's a McGill. He's a McGill. That's a McGill trait.
All right,
exactly.
Right on. Congrats on your mail days too, man. That's a badass Aaron Rodgers rookie card, buddy.
Well, thanks. I appreciate it. All right, and now I know what it's like when Ken or Adam or anybody, they're like, how do I get out of here? Like, yeah,
I'll get you out of here.
Me. I'm not going to do it. You got to boot me.
See you, buddy.
Are you guys close friends in real life?
Oh, yeah.
That's good. I love stories of brothers that are friends, especially, it's not just the faces. Like, people are like, oh, they don't look that much alike. It's when you guys are standing next to each other, it's like, holy shit. You guys, like, it's like you guys, like, your silhouettes look the same, and also, like, your like, what's the word? Like, your style, like, the way you move is the same.
Yes. I don't see it.
I know you don't. You're not supposed to, Christina. You're completely biased. This is like asking, like the wife of the brother. It's like, no, it's all about my husband. No, you cannot be involved in this. I'm the only one that can respond.
Don't be upset, Stiff. We've never gone into hour 4 before. This is the first time.
Oh, that's so bad. Hour 4 is not a good place to be.
Hour 4 means it's time to check out. Plus, we need to be well rested. NBA games are beginning in 9 hours and 51 minutes.
Dude, can I just say, though, I've seen a lot of hobby content recently where the people have way more followers than us, and they've got 30 people on the live at 7 p.m. on the middle of the week. We're at like 4 a.m., 3 a.m., whatever time it is, and we got 50, so
That's right.
Humble brag.
You guys think you got real followers? Put it to the test. Let's see you go live for 4 hours.
Put it to the test. I love that. Yeah. Why don't you be live at 3:09 and see how you do?
That's right. All right, Josh. Great show. Thank you, everybody. I don't know why anybody's still on right now, but we're going to set you guys free for the night. We'll see you guys next week.
We're reaching the top.
A lot has changed since Card Ladder began. We started with 500 cards in our database, and now we have over 3 million cards and over 30 million sales.
For anyone asking who is the best, we putting our hands up.
With Card Ladder's sales history feature, we have virtually every card in our system. If the card you are looking for ever sold on one of these platforms, you can find it using Card Ladder's sales history, and you can add a card to your collection with just one click.
My time. None of you people can tell me to stop.
Plus, every card, no matter the last time it sold, has an estimated value that we calculated using our state-of-the-art player indexes. Unlike other apps, when you see Card Ladder's verified checkmark, that means a researcher personally vetted each and every sale.
We know what it takes to be reaching the top.
We know what you want, because Card Ladder was created by collectors for collectors.
Know what it takes to be reaching the top.
Join the innovators, not the imitators. Card Ladder 2.0, constantly innovating. Try it for free. See why Card Ladder is the industry leader in sports card data.
We know what it takes to be reaching the top.
Card Ladder 2.0.